6 Melbourne Terrafly runway heading runway 5. Clear for takeoff.
From Psychic Sundays to ET Contact and everything in between, this is Spaced Out Sunday's Cosmic Passport with host Elizabeth Anglin.
Check it. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Having great show, guys. Smoke now.
You can connect with Elizabeth on Skype at 505-908-9558 and Spirit for Peace. Follow Liz on Twitter at Elizabeth Anglin and hashtag SpacedOutRadio. And you can connect with us on the web at spacedoutradio.com.
I feel the need for speed.
You feel it over and over again. We take you higher and higher and higher. You feel it over and over again.
Chillers, real now. Smoke off now.
This is the love we live for.
Chillers, Ricky Morning. Contact. Easing up. Chillers, real now. Real now. One left.
Don't look much like Los Angeles to me. I knew I should have taken that left turn at Albuquerque.
Now taking you on a spiritual journey from the desert of New Mexico this Sunday night, here's Spaced Out Sunday's Cosmic Passport with Elizabeth Anglin.
Chillers, ready to take it back. Contact.
Good evening and welcome to Psychic Sunday. I am your host to you It's all sorts of goodness. There's craziness going on. It's going to be fun. So here's what's going on. We have Robyn Fink in. She is an evolutionary astrologer. She is here to talk to us about the blue moon, everything else that's going on with this lunar eclipse and the supermoon all at once. Robyn has been studying animal communication. She's been on before as our animal communicator. She is, been starting to do mediumship. She's been doing readings on the East Coast. One of my favorite people. Robyn, thank you so much for being here. How are you this evening? Yeah. Well, we are so glad you're here. We had some gnomes turning our sound on and off, but we're back. I don't know how they got to it. I hate it when they do that. Spaced Out Radio is plagued with gnomes. And I wonder if the moon has anything to do with it. What do you think?
I'm actually going to start talking about something a little bit before that to get up to speed with it, because I think it's important for everybody to understand how really important these 3 moons in January have been for us, and how they're an opening to our 2018. It's kind of a very cool thing to look at. So if you guys can bear with me for a moment, I'm just going to take us back for a moment to the summer of 2017, where we all experienced that really fabulous full solar eclipse right across the United States. It's one of the most phenomenal things we've all seen in our lifetime. And at the time, what we were experiencing, and I'm sure most of the listeners will agree with me, that it was a real visceral experience. You could feel things happen. People felt things. People came together. There was a lot of activity, and I use the word activity on purpose. So that was a real release of sun energy. And in astrology, we think of the sun as being the active part of who we are. So that brings us to the January of 2018. And when, as in everything that we see in the world, in our world, in this 3D universe, is this idea of polarity. And I'll probably speak a number of times to that this evening. So with that sun eclipse of summer of last year, August of last year, we have the polarity of the moons that have opened us up to a brand new 2018. 2017 also, I think our listeners here would probably really agree with me that it was pretty tumultuous. It was a rough year for a lot of people, with a lot of newness, a lot of new things happening, trying things out. It was also a number 1 year, and I'm not a numerologist, but just looking at that from the basics tells us that there were a lot of new things happening. There were a lot of alignments cosmically that caused people to see things for the first time and experience new, changing types of things. So the moons that have happened for us in January happen in a year that is now a 2 year. So that's that polarity that I was speaking of. This idea of with the light comes the dark, and we have both of those kinds of energies within us. And the sun and the moon show us.
I want to slow you down a little bit. So
yeah.
You're talking about the numerology. So last year was one is a water. Is it more watery? I think I remember.
And that part of it, I'd be over speaking, Elizabeth. A one for me, and in my learning of it is an idea of a beginning, a new beginning. If you think about a seed growing, you put the seed into the ground, and you don't know what's going to happen yet. You're just feeding it with all different kinds of energies. Right. So, and of course, this plays out differently for everybody, but it's the idea of everything being new and generated, and being all things are possible, I guess you could say as well.
And and it can also be, so like for last year, if somebody was starting something new, it could be difficult beginnings, right? Because in tarot and in I Ching, beginnings can also be a time where you find that, this is not going as quickly or as smoothly as I thought it was. And it's because you don't know what you don't know, right?
Exactly. So the cosmos and the universe, nothing is by accident, and the universe knows exactly what it needs to tell us. So through the last year coming into the beginning of this year is really pivotal to understanding the energies that we're all going to play with in this 2018 year. So this polarity idea, this idea of things being juxtaposed against one another. It's not. It's going to be an easier year, astrologically speaking. We see the signs of that. So right now, what we're going through, like we went through in August of last year, is that was an active sort of release. That solar eclipse was us releasing things in an active way. You saw probably on the internet, in news, people got together as community and things were happening. The moon is different. The moon is a much more, it's a receptive energy. It's the energy of what happens inside us. It tends to be more of a feminine energy. And there's another polarity, feminine, masculine. So sun being masculine, moon being feminine. But it's those emotional experience. And you alluded to it in a humorous way at the beginning when you said, it's a lot of possibly loony kind of things. And you think about the word Luna as being the moon and lunatic and things being kind of lunatic during moon times, then we can kind of see some of those. We've all experienced some of those kind of sort of shadowy feelings that we get when we think about the moon. So at the beginning, the reason I'm bringing all of this up and I'm making such a big deal about it is because it's really pivotal to understanding 2018 for us. So while we want to put that 2 in the back of our mind, I'm going to move to the first moon that we all experienced in January, which it happened on January 1st. So it was a New Year moon, and it was a full moon in Cancer. So that's very interesting because that sun that I spoke of last summer was an active, heartfelt Leo moon, which is all about active, sort of being on stage energy, very giving, very loving, very sharing. Cancer or Cancerian energy is a little bit different. It's more of a inward feeling energy, sort of an analyzing ourselves and going within and concentrating. So that full moon release in Cancer that happened on the 1st was our first opportunity for the universe to tell us we need to look within. We need to see ourselves. We need to release those things that we've figured out or have maybe been holding us back or bringing us possibly sometimes sadness or not allowing us to move forward in our lives, sort of illuminating the shadows, I guess you could say. So it sort of asked us to do something in terms of the beginning of release. So just sort of put that in the back of your mind, that it was that energy.
It's this year. This year is asking us to look at the shadow and release some things. Is that part of it? Oh, okay.
That's part of it. Yes, absolutely. So if we say, okay, we've done that, we need to heed the call of acting and releasing all the things that don't or haven't served us. It's also the Cancerian moon is also Cancer. The moon rules the sign of Cancer, so the moon is also nurturing. So there's always a positive and negative to all of these things. Again, there's that polarity. And it's asked us to take a look and be kind to ourselves, to release, but also to release all those things we're interested in having happen for us. So it was sort of just a little taste. It was the beginning. It wasn't an eclipse, but it was a big, powerful full moon at the beginning of this year, at the beginning of January.
So let me tell you what happened for me. What was interesting is I did feel like I turned a corner. As in, some of the things that happened last year, it was like I put them aside and I said, oh, yeah, okay, I'm not so hung up on that anymore. There's new stuff coming in, and I started to see like that I had this little period at the end of the year where it was like, yeah, okay, that's all right. Yeah, all right, that's not such a big deal. Sort of everything sort of built up over the solar eclipses, and things got kind of tense and a little And then at the end of the year, it was like, it's not such a big deal. Okay, there's new stuff that's going to come. So would that have spoken to the moon?
Yes.
Okay. And so I feel like I turned a corner, like I got to the top of the hill, and it's not a ski run, but it's like a nice little toboggan run now.
Right, and it was sort of the universe saying, let's have a little taste. Let's everybody have a little taste of what we'd like you to see in the next year. So that was a really fabulous beginning for us to maybe uncover some subconscious things, some emotional things. The idea of sensitivity that comes with Cancerian energy. We all might have felt some of those kinds of things, which was just sort of an idea of, something's coming, but it's asking, me to do something. So the second thing that happened in January was on about the 15th, 16th, which was the new moon. And that happened in the opposite sign to Cancer, which is Capricorn. So think it's completely opposite energy. So a new moon is going to ask you to sow the seed and ask you to think about those opportunities that you want to come in. And as you just said, Elizabeth, that idea of, I've turned that corner. Now what's going to happen? What's new? What can I start? So it's this idea of, in Capricorn, it would be the idea of, okay, let's get to work. Let's start working. Because Capricorn is the sign of determination. It's the time of bringing things into the material world in a really powerful, it can often really be part of things in a global way, things that we see in terms of politics, big business. It's that structure and foundational energy that we see in our lives. And those people that are around us, we all have those wonderful people who we can always turn to who say, I've got it, I can handle that. So the new moon was asking us to begin doing that, to put those from an emotional perspective, sow those seeds, get to work, be determined, and think about what you want to come to fruition. So that was another little clue that the universe was giving us, that was leading us up to this, finally up to this supermoon that we're having on the 31st, which is a supermoon and a blue moon. And for those who may or may not know, a blue moon would be when it's three moons, three full moons, or three moons in a month. We will not have a full moon in February, so the moon will be dark for the most part for a lot of the month in February. So the other name for this moon is also a blood moon, because in many places we will see the moon as it is being eclipsed. It will begin to get darker and take on a rusty or blood red color. So it's called the supermoon, is because it's a time when the moon is closer to the earth and we see it that way. But the blue moon is this idea of having more moons in a month that we can see. And then the blood moon is how we actually physically see it when it is eclipsing.
Okay, so one question for you. Mm-hmm. Isn't there a lot of folklore around the blood moon, or, these ideas of things that can only happen on the blood moon, or is that just fallacy?
Well, there's certainly a lot of connection that can be made, and if we look at historical significant happenings, there's a lot of religious overtones around it, because there were thought that it was things happened that were emotionally volatile, and as we've already spoken, we all understand when full moons occur, we are we are creatures who are very, very attuned to the moon. Our planet is attuned to the moon, given the tidal variations and that kind of thing. And there's our emotions are tied to it. We are 75% water. Moon is a watery planet. So it's this idea that these energies are constantly waxing and waning. And when we have a full moon, it can sometimes feel like a tidal wave or one might say the rogue wave that comes and sort of hits us. And you say, oh my gosh, what happened there? Or where did all the crazy people come from? It's actually people responding, sometimes not in the most positive and growth-like way. But then at other times, knowing that this is going to happen, knowing that these energies are coming to us, we can look at ourselves and understand what we're feeling from a different place and use it to help us move forward, which is exactly what the universe wants us to do.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I kind of already hit some of that. I had somebody tell me, sort of say, you've got psychological problems. I'm like, oh, really? What does that look like to you? You're a bitter old woman who needs more cats. And I went, that was interesting to hear. It was like I was not expecting that. and
these things happen to us when it comes out of the blue, and we're being asked to, do what we need to do that's helpful for us. And obviously that person needed to share that with you. You need to do something with it that's positive for you, which could be disregarding it altogether if that's what you so choose.
Right. And well, actually it's interesting because I can sort of review it and go, I have one cat. I'm quite happy with that one cat. I don't need more, So,
yeah.
But it was unexpected. It was like, really?
Yes.
Really? Okay. If you say so.
So this whole thing that's going to happen on the 31st, what I want to say about it is I've set it up with almost like a tidal wave of my own here by going all the way back to summer of last year. But I just want people to think very clearly and take a sort of a real solemn pause at some point around this moon and think about what that means, because we will probably transpersonally, meaning out in the world, not within ourselves, there is always the possibility of seeing some crazy things and some very volatile things, because this energy is potent and palpable and there for everyone to use. But doing the type of astrology that I do, I move toward the idea that we all have choice, and these energies are provided to us for our ability to do the best that we can with them. And that's why I do the work that I do, so that I can help people look at these things more clearly. And I've seen it happen so many times over and over, and certainly for myself personally, how it can change your life in terms of moving forward in a positive way, in a really optimistic way, and really powerful way. One of the other clues that Mother Nature has given us with this supermoon on the 31st is that it's coming into us in the sign of Leo. So I'll take a minute and talk about that, because that's important to know too. All this energy is coming in an environment that speaks to us from a place of the heart. Leo rules the heart. And it is in the astrological pie, the 12 pieces of the pie, the chart, it rules the 5th house, which is all about fun. It's all about fun and creativity and fertility, meaning fertility in terms of creating all kinds of things, art, beauty, just wonderful opportunity for us to use all of this energy in a heartfelt way, in more of what I would say would be a community way, because Leo is a sign of being often it can be a sign of someone who might be the showman. So it's someone who likes to be on stage. So think about this moon as the energy of, come on and join me. I want you to, bring this into yourself, bring this energy into your community, and just express it. So the full moon is all about expressing. It's about releasing. So releasing with joy, releasing and saying, I am going to make 2018 a great year for me because I felt this universal energy and I understand what it's trying to tell me so that I can have the best year yet, which is to release from the heart, release all those things that you don't need, but also remember the release can, as I said before, can be a release for letting go of things so that you can allow the universe to handle it, to take care of it, and it can come back to you. So, yeah, so nothing is by accident. There are no coincidences. The universe knows what they're doing. And so it's a very, very cool thing. So the other thing about this Leo expression too, that I want to make sure that everybody hears is it's very spontaneous. So there'll be a lot of spontaneity. So think about as you release these issues, these things, these wonderful, positive possibilities in your life. Think about the spontaneity of what happens when you have fun. What happens when you have fun? You don't stop and say, I'm having fun. It's more like a childlike experience where it's wonder and it just sort of happens. And it's what we've seen at the beginning of January with this growing period. Now this release is the universe wants us to know that it's sort of a huge expression of lunar energy that, have fun with this, have warmth in your life, enjoyment, and self-expression. So it's a wonderful thing to think about, and I think sort of something to put in the back of your mind as we talk about some of the things that are going to happen this year.
I'm wondering, because I actually felt a shift today where I kind of feel this warm sort of love energy. Not just, you think of love in the heart, but this is like all the way down. This is like all the way down to the ground kind of thing. Would that be part of the moon, or could that be something else?
I would say it can be a lot of things, but I think predominantly, if we were going to put percentages on it, I would say we are in that sort of in the bell-shaped curve of things. We're in the pre-end of it building, the building end of this eclipse experience. So what you're feeling absolutely would be that. And I don't want to forget to say this. Remember, we've been talking about polarities of the dark, the light, the moon, the sun. There's always the positive way to express this Leo experience, this environment energy, but there's also a negative side. And I just want to bring that up because we all want to be careful of that, and we want to know it when we see it and also recognize it. So the shadow side of all this Leo energy is this idea of possibility of a sense of overdrama or self-serving experiences that get out of hand. So we've all been around people where having fun can lead to too much fun kind of experience. So we want to, always sort of keep ourselves, we're always looking for balance. The universe wants us to find balance in things. And sometimes to find balance does mean we have to go a little bit to one side or the other so that we can understand what that balance is. But the point being, at the very end of it is, the caution is to remain generous and grateful and kind to others, which is expressing all those Leo qualities, and not get carried away.
Okay. So keep it real and generous, but don't get tired out, and that's good. So how, with this type of thing happening at the beginning of the year, how much does it affect the rest of the year?
Well,
what would we see?
I think that, we always, the beginning of our year always is, for a lot of people, a very contemplative time, a sort of foundational time. And that doesn't come by accident. It's the 1st of January comes every year in Capricorn. So it's that, again, the universe, no coincidence. This idea of wanting to build, wanting to grow that seed. putting in the work to grow the crop of the rest of your year. So it becomes a kind of serious time. Capricorn energy is serious energy. So sort of in response to your question, Elizabeth, it's kind of funny. We're going to segue right into what the next thing that I did, which is I actually ran a chart as if the new year was being born, which it is, and we can do this every year, actually. So I have a New Year chart that is a birth chart for 2018. And no, this shouldn't surprise anyone that what I'm talking about has played itself out in this chart. So one of the things I always talk about when I read for people is there's lots of energies that each of the planets will sort of portray in each of our lives, and it will happen in a different environment. And if you were to take like a pie and cut it into 12 pieces, you would see that there would be 12 different places where planets might show up in a chart. And this year's chart is no different than that. So each of those happens differently for each of us. So tonight, one of the things I'm going to do is I'm going to talk about this is all happening for us. All of these energies that I'm talking about will happen for us, but they'll happen a little bit, it'll be like wearing different shaded sunglasses. Like maybe some people might wear blue, a blue lens. Others might wear more of a yellow lens. It depends upon where those planets sit in your chart. But in the chart for the year, if we were going to just look at the chart for the year, one of the things that we would see is that, no surprise, the sun would be in Capricorn. And as I said before, that's that foundational structural energy. Capricorn is ruled by the planet Saturn, which is the energy of limitation, restriction. Ooh, it sounds like all those horrible things, but it's not really. As I said, there's always positives and negatives. So the positive side of those things is sometimes when we're starting a new activity, a new business, a new relationship, a new endeavor, a new family, whatever the newness might be, it's going to, like for this year, we're going to start it in Capricorn, and that's allowing it to have things to have a very good, solid foundation. That means that there's work involved, but it also means that we have the best opportunity for something to come to full fruition. I often think about Capricorn energy as the person walking up the mountain, and they're not worrying about whether there's people behind them urging them on. They can do it themselves, but they're going to put one foot in front of the other. It's not a fancy energy. It's not flashy energy. But by goodness, it's the energy we all need to get things done. So we all need that. So of course the sun is there in this chart, and it's at the bottom of the chart. So what does that mean? It's at the bottom because that's our inner self. It's our inner place. It's where things begin at the beginning for all of us. So it's that place of being inside, those things of learning how to develop the foundation for things inside of us so that they can then be manifested outside. So I did want to mention that. And then there are two very powerful planets sitting on both sides of the sun in this chart for 2018. And they will play themselves out later when I'm speaking about things. One of them is Saturn, and we've already talked about Saturn a little bit. And the other one is Pluto. So Plutonian energy is going to be that energy that we've all experienced when our life all of a sudden comes to a place where it has built and built and built, and the rogue wave crashes or the tsunami crashes or the volcano erupts. Choose your metaphor. But it's that place where we know everything has built up to a place where it can no longer remain the same and change must happen. So it's also known as the planet of transformation, which is wonderful. Goes back to these moons I talked about of releasing things so that things can change and the energy can flow and move, which is exactly what life is and how we want to grow with it. So I think it's really key to think about this year in terms of we want to release what we don't need, And we also, over the course of the year, remember that we have this really solid energy of foundational energy, keep ourselves grounded, because this is all earth energy. Capricorn is an earth energy sign. And that to be watchful and to be anticipating as much as we can these things in our lives that want us to change, these opportunities for really looking at ourselves and knowing, well, that can't stay the same anymore. Elizabeth, you alluded to it earlier in the program when you said, I just felt like I let go of things I didn't need. And it's that kind of energy, sort of putting your hand out and saying, okay, I'm ready for the change. Let me grab a hold of that new door and open it, even though I don't know what's on the other side. So that kind of thing.
Okay. And I guess I have a question for you. If somebody, say for example, can you look at these moon energies and the energy of this year? If somebody has a health issue, for example, how would this year go for them? Would you have to know what month they were born in? Would you have to know, what would you need to know?
Yeah, for specific, tonight I'm talking about generalized energies that are going to be there for all of us. And I did say real briefly that in order to look at someone, each of us, these energies are going to play out in an environment that might be a little bit different. So in order to do that for people, to do it clearly and really completely, we need to have the person's birthday, birth time, and birth time is very important because that can affect the environment in which these energies play out, which would be very key. And then the place of birth, because where you were born on the earth, there's a difference in how that shows up in the chart. So date of birth, time of birth, and place of birth.
Okay.
So those are the things.
Well, we've got some issues. We've got some SOR, we call them extended family members, people in the chat room who have parents who are having some health issues. And I was just wondering if we might look at what this year might be like for them, but we'd need to know what month they were born, where they were born, and all of that.
Yeah, for the more specific things, yes.
Okay. If somebody in the chat room is giving you information, I suppose I could write it down, or you could, Dan, you can also PM that to me. Dan is like, I want to know in the Spreaker chat room. So I'm not sure I should call this out over the internet and the world here. Dan, if you have no problem with it, let us know. We might be able to do something with it during the break. But he put everything in.
Okay. All right.
So
and certainly, given a little bit of time, I can certainly look at that. I will say, there's always there are always opportunities to look at lots of different things in one's chart, and certainly in the chart that I've done for the year, you can see these things. Things having to do with how we are relating to ourselves, how we relate to the resources in our lives, how we relate to those currencies that we use, meaning money, our self-esteem, our ability to, our opportunities to communicate with people, where we're going with our career, what about higher education and travel, partnerships. All of these things do show up in an individualized way for all of us in our chart, and as well as the things for me as an evolutionary astrologer. Two of the things, and I am going to speak to that this evening. Two of the things that are in each of our charts that are not planets, but they're actually a mathematical point, are called the nodes of the moon. And the nodes of the moon give us, they are calculated about the moon, but they are not the planet, the moon itself. But it's a way to look at energies that play themselves out over your lifetime. And it gives us an idea of where your soul came in terms of the kinds of energies that your soul comes into, either at birth, or if you're so inclined to think of yourself as a soul that has been here before in a reincarnation perspective, that we have our south node where our soul comes in, and then the north node is where you want to go, where our soul wants to go. So that's in the type of astrology I do, that's so key, because we want to share with people how they can use all of these energies to make those points worthwhile and allow us to move to that point, so that we make the most of our time as human beings.
Okay, so do you have my chart? Because I sent you my information. I should have probably asked you to pull that up.
I do. I have to pull it up, but okay. I can. Yeah.
I'm okay with you sort of explaining how that works with a chart by using my information. I'm an open book. That's just how it has to be. I don't know how long that will take you, though. And I did, and also I was watching your teacher, Stephen Forrest, was talking about the evolutionary astrology and how that's different. It really does take into account past life karma and issues and things that we're trying to get over. Not just, it's not about fate, it's more about process. Like the whole life experience is process through energy, through karmic energy and growth and change.
Absolutely. And remember, again, as I said at the very beginning, there's always the shadow and the light, which no one lives their whole life in this place of light and, positive action. It's why we're human beings. We're here to learn lessons and experience. The main thing is that we're here as experiencers. So we're here to experience the world, and that means we have to experience the dark and the light so that we can come to something that brings us to both of those things. So that's really the point. And that's the point of evolutionary astrology, which allows one to do those things. So, Elizabeth, I have your chart up here. So,
okay.
So, what would you like me to speak to?
Well, you were talking about things in the North Node, like where I come in and what I'm working on. So, where I come in is what's happening in the where I come in part.
Okay. And when we talk about the South Node, and I say, you have this pathway, and it goes from one place to the other, it presupposes that the South Node, which is where you come in, are things that you don't want to have in your life or you don't want to do. It's not exactly like that. Those are the things that we would consider to be habit. And this, let's presuppose for you, Elizabeth, that you have had many lifetimes, and that this lifetime you came in with experiences from the past life. And your South Node is in the 10th house, and it's in the sign of Sagittarius. So what that means is that something happened in your previous life that was part of your reputation, your status in the world. You were likely in a place that you were maybe even a leader in your community, or your family was. Something that affected your life was in a very public way. And in a way that was very public, that might be even something that could have to do with possibly you were an academic, or you were part of a circus, or you were a part of a gypsy family. You see how the stories can kind of vary, but it's that energy.
I know what I was. I know what I did last time. So I was a navigator for a B-24 and then a B-26 bomber, and I was in World War II in Korea, and I went down in Korea and was lost.
Okay, and that makes sense, because that was one of the issues around the South Node is that something wasn't quite completed, which means the soul comes back to do.
Right. As a kid, I remember doing that, and I remembered that. So I survived the crash of the B-26C. I got out, but I was on the wrong side of the line, and the line was shifting. Somebody hid me, but when the line shifted back through their town, I got shot. But the whole time that I was hiding, I wanted to get back home and see my wife. And as a kid, my poor mother, she had to deal with the fact that she had this girl who was talking about being a bomber pilot. you had to go find your wife, you know.
Right.
She's like, yeah, you know.
Yeah. And
So-
how interesting, because you've just spoken about the key points around that. And, you know, often for people, they're not so fortunate to know what you knew. And so often when I'm speaking to people, I will develop a story line around it. And you gave me the key words you had there already, which are these ideas of you were out in the world, you were far from home, you were doing something that was important to you, that you were journeying. Sagittarian energy is the archer who has the arrow, who pulls the arrow back and then allows the quiver to fly, and it just goes. And it's this idea of following what you want to know, following what you need, and then towards the end of your life, wanting to go home, wanting to find your wife, wanting to find the important people in your life. So this finding, this journeying. For many people, when they have the energy you're speaking of, the journey could be within. The journey could be about reading or writing. It could be, you know, whatever metaphorically that might mean for you. But in your case, that was what occurred. Something around that occurred, and there were things that were not completed about that time. So the universe provided you with another opportunity and brought you back in with the intent of doing something that was the polar opposite. There's that word again.
Well, what's interesting, I have to say something. I got offered a full ride scholarship to the Air Force Academy.
Okay.
And and basically I just had to meet with the representatives, and they came to my school to offer it to me. I went to my friend's business typing class, couldn't type worth a dang. And I'm in there, and the teacher's just like, what are you doing here? I'm like, I'm hiding. He's like, well, what are you hiding from? Air Force recruiters. And he said, fine, go sit over there. And I sat through the whole thing. And at the end of the day, my dad came to me. He was a high school teacher, biology teacher. And he said, what were you doing? They were here. They were looking all over for you. They were here to offer you a scholarship. What were you doing? And I said, well, yeah, they'd give me a scholarship, but then I might have to kill people. Mm-hmm. And he stopped for a moment and he said, I am so proud of you.
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah, it was like, yeah, I'm not killing anybody.
Yes. And it could have been in that previous life, Elizabeth, this certainly comes to me, that you were placed in a situation of leadership. You were placed in a situation of having going into that experience, not because you necessarily wanted to, but maybe because you had to, or you felt you had to. Right. And you did it, but it was not being true to who you really were, true to your soul, which is the reason why you've come into the polar opposite place, which is the fourth house, which is the opposite of the 10th house. If the 10th house is the house of being the most visible in the world, it's the pinnacle of your career. It's the idea of status and reputation. It's your vocation, usually or often. The opposite of that would be being what would be the most closely guarded place in one's life, and that would be home and family, or the ties that bind, those people that are close to you like family, or those experiences that are close like family. And that is in the sign of Gemini. So the universe gave you energy to complete this life, to complete, when I spoke of habit before, habit, another word for habit is karma. So this South Node karma that has, habit is pulling you into this something completely different, not being so widely, having to do things that you don't necessarily want to do, but making the home, I say home and family, and we'd often like to say home is where the heart is. Home is not necessarily a place. Home is a space. It can be a space in your heart. Home is where you are. Home are those people that you bring around you that are meaningful to you, that resonate with you. And you, interestingly, and this is going to make you laugh, that you are in this place of finding your family, your ties that bind, your tribe, in a sign that is all about communication. Now, what are we doing this evening? It's all about the communicative arts. So finding your space, finding your place with people that are meaningful by virtue of communication. Isn't that interesting? See, it's a fascinating experience to have, to be able to look at these things. And then the other energies that are there in your chart are there to help you have lessons around how you're actually going to move there into that space, because this is a lifetime of experience getting ourselves there. And we have hiccups along the way, as everyone does. So, yeah. Cool.
Yeah. Oh, I've got some feedback. Am I on speakerphone with you or no? Nope, you still there?
Are you talking to me or?
Yes, you.
Oh, here. I'm here. Yes.
Okay, am I on your speakerphone? Just a quick question. We've had some feedback. Like it sounds like whistling on your end, and I thought, why don't we just check it for now, since we're here?
Yes, I am.
Can you go off of speakerphone for us? Real quick.
I don't know if I can. Hold on.
Okay. Do you have a headset?
Yeah, I do not, Elizabeth.
Okay. We'll have to figure that out in the next half an hour. We've had people talking about what is that sound, and it's speakerphone. That's what it is. It's the fact that she's on her computer speakers. But we'll figure that out when we come back. And that's our communication portion for taking care of the family. What is that noise? The family is saying, what is it? So, all right. So is there anything else you see about where I'm going? I mean, I'm going toward home and my family is in communication. Is there anything else?
Yes, I do. You, your son is in, as you know, your son is in Capricorn. So you have all that energy we've been talking about, and it's in the 12th house, which, if we think of this circle as the circle of life, where the first house would be that seed that we put in the ground or a baby being born, and we move it all the way through. I won't go through all of it now, but if we move to the 12th house, I think our listeners can understand that would be, the sort of the end of this life moving into the next life, sort of the consciousness space. It's a house that is ruled by Pisces, which is very mystical and magical and metaphysical, but also about oneness. And so it does not surprise me that you are into the metaphysical, that you are an experiencer with regard to other energies that people in other places in life may not be as sensitive to. So that's a very interesting placement, and it's often seen where if you have strong energy there, it can indicate that you are an old soul. So meaning you've been here a number of times. So that, I would see that. Yeah.
Okay. Well, that does sound like me. I mean, that's pretty much what's going on. After a while, you get to a certain place, it's like, that's what's happening, So that's great. If somebody wants to see you for an evolutionary astrology reading, how can they find you?
They can find me via my email address, and I am happy to provide that. And I do readings in person. I'm on the East Coast of the United States, but I also do them over the phone or through FaceTime or Skype. So, because it's always nice to have a visual connection with people when you're reading for them. So I like to do it that way as well.
And boy, we have the folks in the Spreaker chat room. You said that, you're going back to family and the ties that bind. And there's this whole thing about zip ties going on now. You folks, my family is really, what would you say my family is? There, it's a little twisted and
shall I say that we're we're all in 21st century families. We all have these groups of people that kindred spirits, we could call them as well. It's a really the traditional nuclear family is still there, but it has many different flavors and shades and all of that. So I like to think of it more like the ties that bind. That's why I use that terminology.
Well, we're going to be back with our zip ties and the ties that bind and our SOR family and the Spreaker chat room and the SOR Space Travelers chat room right after this, after these messages from
Hey,
our
Space
sponsors.
Travelers. It's Joe Roop, your host of Spaced Out Saturdays. Come join me as we explore the realms of the paranormal, the esoteric, and everything in between every Saturday night at 9 p.m. Pacific, midnight Eastern. You know the truth is out there. Don't get caught sleepwalking. Come join Spaced Out Saturdays. That's every Saturday night, 9 p.m. Pacific, midnight Eastern, right here on spacedoutradio.com.
365 days a year, we're in the field, investigating UFO sightings, talking to alien abductees, and visiting secret military locations like Area 51. We're UFO Seekers, official partner of Spaced Out Radio. Follow our daily search for the truth at ufoseekers.com or like us on social media. Catch us on Spaced Out Radio every third Monday of the month as we discuss Area 51, UFOs, and more. And also, don't forget to subscribe to us on YouTube.
From coast to coast to coast, Blacklight Uncharted is taking on the paranormal across Canada. From ghostly hauntings to the UFOs flying above in conjunction with MUFON Canada, we're closely investigating what's going on in the northern skies and checking out the apparitions that walk among us. Check out our videos right here at spacedoutradio.com. We want to know your thoughts, we want to hear your experiences, and we want you to share your stories. The answers are out there, and we intend to find them.
Would you like to become one of our space travelers? All you have to do is click on the Space Travelers icon at spacedoutradio.com. For only $5 a month, you can get access to some great prizes, as well as private monthly shows, newsletters, and a members-only section on our website. Become a space traveler today.
It's paranormal news at its finest. Welcome to The Encounter. At spacedoutradio.com, The Encounter online is SOR's trusted news source for everything weird and strange going on around the world. This is news editor Eric Markham. Our team of journalists are scouring the planet for those strange stories that rarely make the mainstream. No fear-mongering or fake news here. Head over to spacedoutradio.com and encounter The Encounter.
Want to learn more about aliens, cover-ups, conspiracies, cryptids, and the paranormal? All you have to do is tune in S4 as we take over Spaced Out Radio Night, starting at midnight Pacific, 3 a.m. Eastern, each and every Saturday night, right after Spaced Out Saturdays. Hi there, this is Eric Cooper from Forest Moon Paranormal. Join me, Corey Ruiz, and friends as we discuss the hot topics of the night. It's fun, entertaining, and as dark as the night. Find us at spacedoutradio.com.
Hey, this is Canadian Paranormal Investigator Mike Moore. The third Wednesday of every month, I'll be teaming up with Dave Scott to bring you Ghosts of the Great White North. Each month, we will bring on guests from across Canada to discuss their ghostly encounters. Canada is a paranormal hotbed with stories you've never heard, so we're going to bring them to you. So get comfy on your Chesterfield, grab a donut, and join us, eh?
There's a lot of strange going on in this world, and we can help you find out what's going on with you. Paranormal, cryptids, UFOs in the sky, aliens in your bedroom tickling your toes. We have the investigators you need to find out the answers you deserve. All you have to do is head to spacedoutradio.com. Your information is 100% confidential. The SOR Sightlines Report. It's free, and we're here to help.
Do you want to know what's really going on in your world? Do you have questions about who you can trust in the mainstream media? Then look no further than the Rebel Planet. Come get the straight answers right here at spacedoutradio.com. Join me, Jamie Sexton, creator of Rebel Planet News, as I fill you in on the stories behind the stories. All you truth seekers, be sure to tune in to Rebel Planet on spacedoutradio.com the third Thursday of every month.
Are you an experiencer? Have you had run-ins with strange creatures you can't explain? ETs, Dogman, Bigfoot, werewolves? They're enough to scare the daylights out of anyone. Hi there, I'm Butch Witkowski from your 4-Cop. And on the last Monday of every month, you can listen to me and the host, Dave Scott, talk about the weird and the strange being reported on Spaced Out Radio. I'm going to bring my investigations and sources, you bring your experiences, and we'll figure out the rest together. Strange Days on Spaced Out Radio. Come tune us in at spacedoutradio.com.
Are you interested in advertising on Spaced Out Radio? Head to our website at spacedoutradio.com and click on our advertising tab. There, you will find an assortment of ways you can get your product out there with us, from radio commercials to banners and social media. Have a product you like our hosts to endorse? We can do that too. Visit spacedoutradio.com for more details.
Don't have time to listen to Spaced Out Radio live? Wherever you are, the car, the office, the shower, or even if you're traveling, we're right here for you. Each Spaced Out Radio show can be found on iTunes, TuneIn, and on our YouTube channel, Spaced Out Radio Show. It's the perfect way for you to catch up on our shows. For more information, just head over to our website, spacedoutradio.com, and tune in to us today.
Looking for nighttime adventure? Old school radio that delves into everything out of the norm? Then check us out at Spaced Out Radio. This is Dave Scott. Every Monday through Friday, starting at 9 p.m. Pacific, midnight Eastern, we're going to take you on a wild ride ranging from conspiracies to true crime and every ghost, alien, and Sasquatch story in between. We're always live, and we're always interactive with you. So join us at spacedoutradio.com, where together, we own the night.
The views and opinions expressed by tonight's guests and topic of discussion do not necessarily represent the official policy or position of Spaced Out Radio, Spaced Out Weekend, Spaced Out Radio Limited, its hosts, syndicated carriers, or anyone associated with this broadcast. Would you like to connect with us? Head to spacedoutradio.com for all your latest show info. And hit us up on Twitter using the hashtag SpacedOutRadio. Now, back to Elizabeth Anglin and SOR.
And we are back on Spaced Out Radio. Cosmic Passport. Robyn Fink is about to mute herself. Oh, but don't let her do that. This is Elizabeth Anglin, your host. We're here with Robyn Fink, Evolutionary Astrologer. Jeanette Dames will be with us shortly. We're having a little bit of Skype issue. Before we go back to doing evolutionary astrology, if you did want us to do some evolutionary astrology for you this evening, please go ahead and send us your digits, your birth date, where you were born, and what time of day you were born, and we will give Robyn some time to work on your charts during the course of this evening, and we'll have Jeanette and myself help you out with other types of readings. So we do have three people in the queue for Robyn, Wyatt, Kevin, and Dan. But if you do want to get in on this, go ahead and send us your digits. You can call in this evening, 505-908-9558. We will add you to our group call as it is available, as Skype is giving us the ability to do that thing. Before we start that, I have some friendly announcements for everybody. We want to welcome in folks listening on WQEE 99 Rock the Key in Noonan, Georgia, at spacedoutradio.com on Spreaker, on the United Public Radio Network, Renegade Talk Radio, and the High Plains Talk Radio Network, and on the Fringe.fm. We want to thank Ron Bumblefoot THAL, formerly of Guns N' Roses, currently of Art of Anarchy, for making the music that makes our shows rock. And if you are online, go check us out on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio. Give our Facebook page a like at Spaced Out Radio. On Facebook, you can follow me at Cosmic Passport with Elizabeth Anglin, or just follow Elizabeth Anglin. If you've had an experience you can't explain, fill out an SOR Sightlines report on Spaced Out Radio. Go ahead and check out spacedoutradio.com, where you can fill out that report. Check out our news and Dave Scott's latest blog. And if you want to take part in the show tonight, you'll have to sign into one of our chat rooms on Spreaker or on the chat room on Facebook on the SOR Space Travelers Club. If you want to become a space traveler for just $5 a month, you can do so at spacedoutradio.com. And we would love to have you in that chat room. So, here we are tonight with Robyn Fink. We're going to have Jeanette Dames in shortly. She's updating her computer system so Skype will work for her. My number is 505-908-9558. And you can call in here and we will add you to the call this evening. If you want to friend me on Skype, my ID is Spirit for Peace, which is not the numeral for Spirit, FORPEACE. And I know that Ron in the Spaced Out Radio Spreaker chat room is just going nuts right now, right about now. Again, call in. This is the time to do it. 505-908-9558. Folks in Spreaker chat room, hey, guess what? Wyatt, you had a question. I know that Robyn has your information. I haven't quite heard your question yet. What is your question for her, given the information that you've given her? Just go ahead and type that in. If you have a question for her, but you don't want to call in, for Robyn or for Jeanette Dames, who is an angel therapist, who also helps people heal their money stories, and who is quite a good intuitive. I've had some readings with her myself. She's going to be on as soon as her Chrome updates. But if you have any questions, you have two choices. You can type them in chat in all caps. I will keep record of them and I will ask Robyn or Jeanette. Or you can call in 505-908-9558. Hey Robyn, how you doing over there?
Good. Thank you. Yeah. Yes, I do have Wyatt's information here once we get his question. And I did have an opportunity to pull up charts for Dan and Kevin. So, but in the meantime, if I can speak a little bit more about this new year of 2018, if you'd like me to.
Yes, I would like you to. Yeah.
Okay. Well, one of the interesting things, since we're talking about this, the nodes of the moon, and you were so kind to let me read yours, let me just share this very interesting pathway that 2018 is giving us with regard to the nodes for the new year. Every 2.5 years, the nodes of the moon will shift into a different sign. And last year, the nodes moved, they're always going to be polar opposites. And so they moved, the south node moved into Aquarius and the north node moved into Leo. So Aquarian energy, which would be the south node, remember we were talking about that being the energy of the habit energy, the energy of the soul, or the energy of the experience from prior life or earlier in life. So energy that you want to move away from that you've already used into newer energy. That's the Aquarian energy. And this Aquarian energy, this is going to sound familiar to people because the Aquarian energy is, think how all of us now, go about our daily lives, and each of us have cell phones, and we have our own playlists of music on our cell phones, and we use earbuds to listen to that. It used to be, and those, probably lots of the people out there are way too young to remember this, but we would have, radios, and we would have music that would just be out there. So it would be almost I would say we would have generational music, like people remember the 60s or the 70s or the 90s. Now we have music playlists that we make that are all our own, and it's not that we don't share them, but we think about them independently. That's Aquarian energy, this idea of really forward thinking. First of all, the cell phone is an Aquarian energy experience. It's somebody thought of that. That was a forward thinking, future thinking idea that came to some people. It became it was developed, became a development that is now a household item. Aquarian energy it's very independent, as I said, but it can also be very rebellious. It can be even quite revolutionary sometimes. So this idea, if we were going to extrapolate that idea and place it on the new year, we're thinking about this older energy was from last year. So some of this Uranian energy is this idea of coming in. It came in a place of that fun and creativity house that I spoke of earlier. It's called the 5th house in astrology, but it's that place where we just want to have fun, want to be out there, be optimistic, be childlike. The downside of that is that it can actually be confining, in the sense that it can go overboard. It can be having too much pleasure seeking, not being serious enough. It can also be breaking social rules. If we think about the volatility of our politics, let's say, and this isn't a political conversation, but I'm just going to use it as a general example of how the whole experience last year of all of the conventions of normal political behavior have changed in terms of communication energy. So that's an Aquarian expression. It's very volatile. It happens quickly. It's independent, feisty, rebellious energy. So think about that in this place of fun and creativity. We've all had those friends in our lives where we think, oh gosh, they're a lot of fun to be around, but I don't know, they're a loose cannon sometimes. It's that kind of thing.
Is that how I'm going to be? Because that, it could be said about me that happens, that sometimes I just, talk first and think about it later. So well, you know what? But we all need that too, because sometimes when that happens, Elizabeth, we don't want to stifle that too much, because sometimes you get genius energy. Aquarius is also, think about the people who are rebellious, the people who are revolutionary. They're often those forward, future-thinking people who have these genius ideas. Think Albert Einstein. Think Nikola Tesla. I don't know what their charts were, but I guarantee you they have an Aquarian or Uranian, meaning the planet Uranus. Uranus is the planet of this genius energy, which is the planet that rules Aquarius. So a lot of this sort of very volatile energy came in 2017. We're still seeing the vestiges of that. So what we're moving towards now is more of an energy in an environment that is more community oriented, more of an idea of this looking at things from a strategically, taking a longer view. It's the 11th house. It's ruled by Aquarius. So while we had that sort of idea of the energy happening in 2017, now we're moving into that house that is ruled by Uranus, but it's in the sign of Leo. So how it's going to express is going to be different. It's going to be that heartfelt community. Let's all come together and figure out how we're going to do something together. So it's more about discernment, about our friendships, about thinking about the right kind of people that we want to associate with.
what I'd like to say, it's a movement from compulsive pleasure seeking to sort of the lasting joy of living each moment with intention and value. So I know that sounds very lofty, but remember, this is a whole year to get there. So, and it, and beyond too, because these energies don't stop. But think of the evolution of if we could each of us make that happen in our lives.
So, okay, yeah, that would be great. And Preacher, did you hear what she said? What did she say? She said it's that energy of genius, of science. Our nerdy shows are going to be great, Preach. That's what Eric Exactly. And we need those people who take a long-term view. And sometimes, when I read for people independently, I will often sort of ease into this, but I'll say, often people who have a lot of an Aquarian signature, people have often thought they were weirdos or they're kind of kooky, but but what you're really saying is that they're the pioneers. They're the people on the edge. This is a wonderful, we need these people. We need all of these people. So this is a great thing. And I think this type of experience, this type of show, your show's Cosmic Passport is an expression of that Aquarian Uranian energy. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to be writing my second book or finishing it. It's basically written in my head. Would this be a good year to do that, to write and finish it over 7 months? Between this month coming, February, and August, September. So I want to get the first draft done by August. What does that look like?
I think absolutely you would be playing into the nodes, absolutely, because here's why I say that is because you've thought about what you're doing and you're thinking strategically about how it's going to happen. You're not thinking it's going to happen tomorrow, but you're also thinking, I want to share this message that I have. I want to share my experience with others because I think it can be of benefit to the whole, to the group, to the community, to our world, to, you just keep whatever that entity is. So what I would say about it, Elizabeth, as the other part of this energy that we want to think about is that sometimes these things take a little bit of time. Unlike the childlike wonder of, let's go jump off the bridge into the water and not think about what's happening on the other side. Here is that energy of that strategic looking down the road. We know it's going to take some time. That's okay. Remember the moon energy originally with the Capricornian energy came in and our January came in with this foundational energy. Now is the time to sow the seed, build the foundation, build the structure around it. This energy moves it into, okay, and now I have a plan. Now I have an outline. Now I have some expectations of myself in building my book. In your case, maybe for others it might be building a business. Others it might be I'm building. I've met someone and now I want to move that relationship forward in a positive way. But I don't expect it to happen tomorrow. That's the energy I'm talking about. So, or let's say you want to buy a home. You're going to save to buy the home. Part of it is, the other is, this Aquarian energy demands that there be adventure, that there be something of the unknown in there, because that's what keeps the excitement about it. So what will help here is some planning, some saving, whatever the saving is. It can be saving in the currency of money, or maybe it's the saving in time of I'm going to save this time, or I'm going to devote this time. So this idea of building something towards a real major adventure that requires planning and preparation. And the adventure is what's going to keep you going. In your case, we'll use your example, your book. That's a major adventure. So it requires planning. It requires preparation. So absolutely, that's wholly in line with what I'm talking about here.
Oh, cool. That is awesome.
Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to that, because I've been hearing all week from my guides, you got to get your book, got to start going, keep going on your book. So excellent day. Okay, so guys, I'm going to tell you something. We're having a problem connecting with Jeanette Dames. I've told her to call in. I'm hoping that she will. In the meantime, she was going to be our straight reader. Oh, and she says she has Skype up and going on her phone. I'm going to ask her to call in. Jeanette, if you're listening, please go ahead and call in. In between now and then, if she doesn't call in, I'll read for you. I don't like to do that because I do stupid things like I forget to take the mute off. Have you noticed? No, none of you have noticed that. But it never happens here on Sunday night with Cosmic Passport, ever. What are you talking about? I've never remember any of that. So, but I'll try to keep my head together about being administrative with the board here and doing readings. So otherwise, oh, look, it's Jeanette. I won't have to do it. Hold on one second. Hey, Jeanette.
Hi.
Hi.
God, I'm so sorry.
That's okay. Hey, I'm wondering if we have Robyn. Robyn's on hold. Can you call back? I'm going to have to add you to a group call. It didn't ask if you were. And you need to turn me off in the background.
Right, yes.
And also, are you on a headset?
Yes.
Okay, great. Call me back. Robyn's on hold.
Okay.
Okay, bye.
Okay, bye.
All right. Well, look, Skype is just doing wonderful things for us this evening. It put you on hold. It didn't allow me to bring Jeanette into the call. So we're going to see if we can actually get this together. I may be doing the readings, I may not, but she's going to call back and we'll see in a moment. No matter
Elizabeth,
what,
I'm going to interrupt you. This is Aquarius in action. This is Uranus in action. So here you are. Lightning bolt changes immediately. You've got to move together with something different. So just go with it.
Okay, Robyn, are you talking? Were you talking to people?
Yes, I was talking to you.
Oh, I couldn't hear you. You know, I'm having a problem. I can't get Jeanette in to the station. It's not allowing her to put her on a group call. Hold on. So not fun.
Oh.
So not fun. Let me try something else. Sorry, guys who are listening. We're doing our best to do our best to get everybody here at the same time. Okay. Hold on one second. Okay, Jeanette, this will put you on. This will put. Okay. Guys, I think we're going to have to let Jeanette go for the night, unfortunately. I'm not able to get her into the group. Oh, I know what I can do. Robyn, let's hang up, and we will call you both back.
Okay.
Okay, hold on.
Great.
Hey, Jeanette.
Hello.
Hi.
Will this work?
Well, you know what I'm going to have to do? I'm going to have to make a group call. I'm not sure if we're going to be able to take callers in the studio. Sorry, guys. But we'll do our best to do that. I'm going to have to make a group call and call you both, and I'll be right back. So I'm going to hang up on you and come right back.
Okay.
Okay. Do, 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 do. Yes, I'm singing that song, and I hope it's not copyrighted because, oh my goodness, what if it is? Things that could happen. Aliens might come. They might take me away for singing the Jeopardy song while I try to work fast. I hate that. I hate having to work fast. That's why I work for myself. Actually, that's not true. I have this. We haven't talked about I have Jupiter on my midheaven, and I have a cardinal grand trine in my chart, which means I can do a lot of work. But when somebody gives me work to do, when I work for other people, I end up getting, I'll get a job, and then the job will be twice to three times or more inclusive, including more stuff than any of than it ever should have done. So working for myself is much better than doing that. Okay, let's call these guys and see who we get.
Okay. I'm here.
Okay.
I'm here.
Yay! We have people. Okay. Folks, we have Jeanette Dames. Jeanette Dames is currently at River Angel Ranch. She is an angel therapist. She's been on before. You may remember her. She's helped me out. She's helped some of you out. And she's going to... Jeanette, for people tonight, what kinds of questions do you most want to be asked?
Well, I usually leave that up to the angels because they sort of bring through whatever really needs to happen. So before the show, I just put out the energy that connects me with whomever is going to get through and ask them to bring about whatever is in everyone's highest and best good. So questions, I'm open to anything about their life. If I don't feel qualified to answer it or I don't feel something coming through, I will just let you know.
Okay, great. That is a good thing. And I don't know what question. Well, Wyatt's has a question for both of you. Wyatt's been looking for a teacher, and he has two questions. It's a two-part question. Wyatt wants to know when his teacher will appear. And you know what my teachers used to say, Wyatt? I'm going to answer this with the pat answer. The teacher will appear when the student is ready. Have you guys heard that?
Yeah.
Yes.
Wyatt's teacher is already there.
Okay. So, and what do you get about that, Jeanette?
His teacher's been there for about... It looks like 2.5, 3 months in our time, but his teacher's been with him his whole life. He's not recognizing it because he's not trusting the information that he's hearing when he asks. And if he just will step back and ask for signs, they will clearly give him signs. Stop looking. It's right in front of you. That your guide is right there.
Okay.
He's calling himself Samuel, so... Ask for Samuel to give you a good sign.
Okay. That's pretty specific information, Wyatt. There you go. And then I think this is also an astrological question as well. So for Robyn and for both of you, when will things return to normal for me?
What is normal? Is there really anything?
Yeah.
Well,
it will not. It will never return. You can't return.
Yes, correct. Jeanette is so right. It's the normal will be the new normal, and a lot of that has to do with the energy of this year that we were speaking about a little while ago. Wyatt is try to be comfortable in the not knowing. Try to be comfortable in the change, and just witness it for what it is. It's not always going to be the easiest thing, but it will happen anyway, and better to release into it than to fight or resist it.
Yeah.
And if I may, and I don't want to overspeak, Jeanette. You have a lot of energy in your 12th house, which we spoke a little bit about Elizabeth earlier, which is this energy that is speaks of an old soul, speaks of someone who's been here before. And there's a lot of transformative energy. Pluto sits there. And that means that your life, you've seen change in your life. Change is not unfamiliar to you. It sits right next to Jupiter, which Jupiter is the planet of everything greater and grander. So think about change, greater and grander. The universe would like to share with you that allow that to happen because it's the natural progression of things. I also, and this is an intuitive piece of reading your chart, is make sure you have animals, Wyatt. Animals are part of that for you. They're part of that being in that sort of mystical, spiritual place. So that will help the transition of whatever is happening in your life. in terms of your the teachers that you're looking for, the new opportunities, the new experiences. They're some of your greatest partners.
Okay. And Wyatt, I'm just going to say, and you can get upset with me because the moon's going to come and do things anyway. Again, let it flow. Let it flow. Don't try to control it. Don't question it too much. Don't second guess it. Like I'm just repeating that. I know that's repeating it, but just you don't need to second guess it. Just let it flow. Like Let It Go, the song from the Snowy movie. Let it go. Let it flow.
Oh God, don't go there. Let's go with the Beatles. Let it go. Let it be. Okay?
Let it be. Let it be. Hey Wyatt, let it be.
I have a question for Robyn when we get around to it. When we have a break from not so many people.
Okay,
yeah, certainly.
And then we have Robyn. I'm trying to. Dan and Kevin, you both gave your information, but I don't know what your question is specifically for either of you. So if you could ask your question in all caps in the Spreaker chat room, we will have her look at that. Is it, what's happening for the year ahead? Is it your karma, like she did for me, Dan and Kevin? Just give me a shout. Yeah, I want to know what I came in with and where I'm going with that, or I want to know something else. So anybody else who has a question, I think tonight we may or may not be able to add you. Skype was being weird and wasn't allowing group phone calls. Goodbye, Wyatt. We love you. So we will do our best. If you call, if I don't answer, don't take it personally. The number is 505-908-9558. We have a question from Sandra for Jeanette. What do angels have to say about past lives or anything I need to know? This is anything Sandra needs to know or about her past lives.
Okay. You've been calling in a team for a while, Sandra. It looks like you've amassed about 8 or 9 actual guardian type angels around you. So you can talk to them at any time. I'm not quite getting why you're concerned about your past lives. Other than a lot of us right now are living very scattered lives because we're tying up a gazillion loose ends from past lives so that we don't have to come back. It looks to me like you have about 4 karmic patterns from past lives, but they're not your most recent ones. They're all scattered all over the place. What your angels would actually talk to Archangel Chamuel, Chamuel. He is, you have really, really high energy and a lot of, it's not only angel energy, but just law of attraction around you. You can just sort of manifest anything you want to. But talk to Chamuel, bring in his energy. He comes with a very pale green light, and he can bring you the answers that you need. You're looking for really specific stuff. He's the one to give it to you. So if you breathe white light energy into your heart space and ask the question from your heart, not from your head, but from your heart, what do I need to know from this past life in this lifetime to do whatever it is you're trying to do? That's a lot. But on a show like this, it's kind of hard to take you through the whole process, which I could do if we were in a private session. But it really is not as complicated as it sounds. So you just call on him, say, show me what I need to know from the most important lifetime. And then if you want to insert a specific thing that's going on in your life right now, then put it in there. The first thing that comes into your mind and your heart is the answer. Don't second guess it.
Okay. That's it. Sandra, if you have a follow-up question, feel free to type it in all caps. Now, Jeanette and Robyn, I'm going to give you the option of either answering Portals of Knowing's question right now or asking for more information about it. The question, as stated, is, I have an ambitious year shaping up. How is it going to go? And my question about that is, what are your ambitions, and what? So we can take a look at how those are going to go versus just ambition. I mean, are you going to hike Everest and climb Everest, or something more reasonable that I. Because I would never climb Everest, but if that's what you want to do, ambitions could be different for different people. So I'm thinking you should tell us a little bit more about what your ambitions are. What do you think, Jeanette?
I don't need him to tell me anything else. I'm good. But if Robyn wants to know more, we can. Cause she operates from a completely different place than I do.
Actually, I can look at the year and just give him some ideas here that I think would be helpful.
Okay,
yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I just in hearing that, it came very clearly to me that you're exactly in the right place, the right year for this to happen. And of course, your energies are going to be specific to you, where these planets are sitting. So it would be, I could give you a better reading if I knew those things more clearly. But the great news is you've got the resources, and they're. I'll just briefly say Jupiter is sitting next to Mars in the house of resources and opportunity for building those things. So whatever you're planning to do, if it's about the currency of money, if it's about building a business around, especially if it's a business or something to do with self-esteem, building other people's self-esteem, that kind of thing is really accentuated this year. And what's going to help you is all of this foundational energy that we spoke of in the first hour, having these really foundational planets that help us be grounded, but also allow us to transform. So the key will be being assertive and being imaginative and optimistic and enthusiastic about what you want to do. But also remember that things will change. Go with the change, go with that flow, and also hold your feet to the fire with your plans. Put those plans out there. As we spoke earlier, it's a year for planning and strategizing so that you can get to the best possible place. So I can see it from that perspective. Jeanette.
That's a pretty good perspective. I like that a lot. Well, what your angels and your guides are coming through is saying is, first of all, it's always a choice. So will it be a good year for you? Robyn gave you a great answer, but it's always up to you. But what they are saying is that as long as you stay focused on your desire and you're really, really clear what your desire is, that you can pretty much create anything that you want. I see a marriage, partnership, partner, romantic. It looks romance to me. I feel like that's what you're creating. And I got to tell you I'm sorry, give me his first name again.
The name is Portals of Knowing. And
Portals of Knowing.
Yes. And before you continue, the ambition is to have a conference. But hey, that's a wonderful place to meet somebody. So continue.
Okay, there's something more. There's something deeper in the conference. When I see marriage, it doesn't necessarily mean I do see romance for whoever this is in a big, big way. Like walking into a room or being with someone who your eyes meet, you know it, you've been looking for each other, you've been waiting, you've been setting this up. What I wanted to say, though, was whatever your energy is, what is coming through is something I've never seen happen. Sitting here in my room, I have these triangles that are multicolored that are flashing all over the room, like lights. They are blue, red, and yellow, bright triangles flashing all over my room. So whoever this person is has incredible energy out there going everywhere. And if you suck that in, they're saying, tell them to suck it in and stand very tall. Everything around you is going to be magnetized to you.
Okay.
That I have to stop because that's where they just shut down right there.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay, so I heard that. I'm not going to repeat it. I think it was heard, and we're going to move on. If you have any follow-up questions, type them in all caps. For those who just tried to call in, Spreaker and Skype are not allowing me to create a group this evening, and I don't know why. So what we're going to do is, if you're in the chat and you want to ask a question, ask it in all caps. We'll go about it that way. You can go into the Spreaker chat room, and you can get through spacedoutradio.com. Again, if you're trying to call in, please don't. It's not going to work because I can't put you in a group. So stop calling. Just type it in the Spreaker chat. Can I say that bluntly enough? Do not call us.
I think that when you get the energy of Robyn and you and then myself together, I almost feel like it's just too much for the airwaves to handle.
Yes.
Because we all channel so much at one time, and then you put it all together in a group, and it's like, okay, we can't take any more. No.
No. Yeah, it's the lines can't handle it. We're blowing out the lines. Sorry, Christopher.
Yeah.
It was Christopher, and Christopher, I'm sorry, you're going to have to put it in all caps. So we have a question from Coco. Well, actually, we have a question from Ron, and I think he's teasing. He says, will your angel talk to my angel?
Yeah.
And, yes,
Sure.
Of course. Okay. And he doesn't have any other questions, so that's a yes. And then Coco's question is, oh, Coco, you and me both. Who is the man coming into my life? And do I need to put my birthday in here? She wants to know for Robyn.
I don't need the birthday, but Robyn might.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. She does. Robyn does, and Jeanette does not.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And I will give it to her, Coco.
She knows a man is coming into her life?
Well, she seems to think
it sounds
he is.
like it.
Yeah. She wants to know who.
Lewis. They just said Lewis. I don't know what that is. The angel. I'm not getting that's an angel name.
Okay.
Is that a place or is that a person? That's a person.
Okay.
But it's spelled Lewis. It might be a last name.
Okay. Anything else about Lewis?
No. They just said Lewis. That's all I got. I'm sorry.
Okay. Okay. All right. Okay, so here's one of my favorite questions. This is from Eric Markham, who's a preacher who gets nerdy with me once a month on Cosmic Passport. And Eric says, am I going to find another relationship? He's recently divorced. He's available, ladies, and he's more handsome in person.
Robyn, do you want to look at his chart to see if he's open for?
I would be delighted
if
Elizabeth can share that information with me.
Okay, so Eric, you can PM that information to me if you want, to not put it out there for everybody to see, and then Robyn will look at that for you. Portals of Knowing has responded back. Wow, you nailed it. Thanks so much. So encouraging. So good job, guys.
Cool.
And let's see. Nicola. Okay, Nicola, this is kind of a process question, but it's interesting. I don't know if either of you astral travel, but Nicola is asking a question about astral travel.
I have. I don't do it regularly.
Okay. Nicola says, I was trying to astral travel the other night, and as I was laying there, my heart started pounding out of my chest, and my eyelids started to twitch. Is that normal? Are you able to see what was happening? I'm not sure what was going on.
Elizabeth, you do that more than you
I
astral travel quite frequently, don't you?
I do it actually a couple times a week or more, but I don't know when I'm doing it, because when I tried to do it consciously, I had the same issue, Nicola. I would have the freight train thing where I would start to, it was like a freight train coming through, and everything would start to twitch. It wasn't just my eyelids. It was like the kriyas, like when you have too much energy and your whole body just starts to twitch. And then and if I were awake, I'd pop out of my body. and then I'd be conscious that I was out of my body, and then I'd get afraid that I couldn't get back into my body, and then I'd have this problem getting back into my body, and I'd be up at the ceiling, bumping the ceiling and sort of going between the ceiling and the room, and then all of a sudden I'd be afraid that something else was going to get in my body. And so what I have done, the neurotic I can't do astral travel consciously self has decided that I can do astral travel when I'm asleep and I'm not conscious of it. And I remember some situations, and I've remote viewed situations that I've astral traveled before when I'm asleep and I'm not freaking out. But that whole thing, Nicola, of getting out and being conscious of it, the heart does go, because it sounds like there's a freight train coming through. At least that happened to be. And it wasn't just my eyelid. I mean, I was apoplectic. I was like, blah, and then I was out. So I would say that's normal. At least it was for me. But
after all that, you say it's normal.
Yeah.
Think of it. You are right. I mean, I think that is normal too. But I always think of it as like Star Trek, when they'd stand in the tube and then their bodies would go, and then they'd land up on the planet. It's kind of that kind of feeling.
Yeah.
But I also, when it happens and I'm asleep, and it's a lot easier to just set the intention when you go to sleep. If there's some place I could visit tonight, I'm opening up and giving permission for that to happen. That's how it's happened for me. And then I wake up and I'm not awake, but I mean, I realize suddenly that I'm moving, my body's moving, and all I can see around me are stars, and I'm going somewhere, and then boom, I'm in some other city.
Yeah. Yeah, that's cool. That's cool. Better than bumping into the ceiling.
Yeah, really.
Yeah, much better than bumping into the ceiling. Okay. Eric is putting things in... Oh, I guess this is what I'm supposed to say about Eric, ladies. He's a crotchety a-hole. If you meant me to say that about you, Eric, I have.
Does he live in Tucson?
No, he doesn't,
Okay.
but he's thinking about moving somewhere. I'm going to ask for him. Is Eric going to move in the next year? He's in North Carolina.
Well, he has very humorous angels.
Yes, he does.
They're actually more like leprechauns, fairies. Because when you said, "Is he going to move?" they showed him in an aerobics class full of women wearing tights.
That's wonderful.
So that's a yes. You are going to move, but they would also like to see you get up and just physically move about more.
Okay. Yeah, because, Eric, we have to go rock hounding, and, you're going to have to be able to keep up with me. I say. I'm laughing. Okay. All right, so his dates, Robyn, I'm going to put them... I'm actually not going to put them out over the air. Let me see if I can get Skype up here, too, so I can type them to you. 1 second. And Eric, were you born in Michigan, in Indiana? Where were you born? And we've got some dates coming in, so everybody give me a second to get them together. Eric, I need to know where you were born, and if you know what time, that's great. If you don't, we'll make up a time. And then Coco has her dates. But Coco, I need to know what year you were born, and where you were born.
I just sent you on Facebook mine.
Oh, okay. And then we have a message coming in from Dan. Jeanette. Okay. Hold on 1 second. I'm going to put in Jeanette's here as well.
And Coco, I will need the year.
Yeah, she'll need the year. Okay. Well, did Coco give you
and the time
and the time and where?
The time and where as well. And Eric, I need to know where and time.
Okay. And time, if you know it, Eric. Oh, okay. So Dan, Robyn, he says, He forgot what the subject was when we gave the reading offering. I'm going to say it was about his health for this year. And I think that's important because I know Dan's got some stuff going up. So Robyn, Dan, who you have his numbers, wants to know about his health. And I don't know if you need to look at that or
yeah, I just have to get other things off my screen there, and then okay. I can do that. So let me take a peek here. Well, what I would say, you have a lot of energy, Dan, that is sort of some very, it's sort of stuck energy in a place that is, this looks like it's more emotional energies, really, than anything to me, just at this brief peek at it. It sort of being, I use the word stuck, and I don't mean that in a pejorative or bad way. I just mean sometimes we get stuck where we are with regard to, maybe what you're doing with your life, your occupation, and that kind of thing, which can sometimes impact your health. But there's this energy that you're moving toward that is Cancerian, which is sort of this knowing yourself. We talked about it a little bit earlier. So really understanding what's going on with you in a really, really deep kind of way. So, and it looks like there's some real, a need for some real assertive energy there as well. It doesn't look like this is a long-standing thing to me. It looks like this is something that you've been working with for a while, and it just requires you to think about it from the physical as well as the emotional and the spiritual side to help you move through it. I'm not seeing anything in particular with regard to a place in your body. I wish I could tell you I do medical astrology. I don't, so I have to do it from a place of your spirituality, but I hope that's a bit helpful. It's mainly going to be this idea of moving from feeling insecure about it, which is obviously speaks to your question, to a place of exactly what you need to do, know it, feel it, and be it. And it's a heartfelt energy too. So I hope that's of some help to you.
Okay. And I'm wondering, Jeanette, do you think if Dan did something like emotional clearing for his heart or for his physical body, would that work?
It would very much. And I wanted to just piggyback on what Robyn said, because what she said was almost identical to what I was getting. I was getting it from a guide perspective, though. But what they were saying is that everything is connected through a universal flow of consciousness. So it depends on a great deal on him holding on to the belief that anything is possible. It's like an ever-flowing magic stream. So what you expect, you will experience. So stay very focused in that the collective awareness is a shared storehouse. And so you have the ability to move your consciousness into the consciousness of healing on the planet instead of the potential for illness or hard time, hardship, or something that's uncomfortable for you. So there is actually almost, it looks like a circle of angelic light that is just kind of standing by waiting for you to say, okay, take over. I'm giving you permission to create the healing that I desire. You do have to give them permission. So hold that in your heart, and you're going to be fine.
Yeah. And I know a little bit about Dan. I am blown away because of what I do know about Dan, that he's very good with traveling in consciousness, and so that's right on. I'm going to say right on for that one. Wow, we got a lot of questions here. Craig, I have given Robyn your numbers. Coco, Robyn has your numbers. Eric, Robyn has your numbers. We've got a couple of minutes before the break. Robyn, do you have anything for any of these guys?
I'm working on Coco right now, so I'll be with you on her in just a moment.
Okay. And again, if you have any questions for us in the last hour, go ahead and type them in all caps in the Spreaker chat room or the SOR Space Travelers chat room. Let's see. Yeah, that's what's going on here. Hey, I have a question for anybody. I'm going to be taking a pottery class, and I'm going to be taking some classes. I'm not sure the pottery class I'm taking is actually about pottery. What do you see about that, Jeanette?
It's before you even said that, I was going to say it has nothing to do with pottery. That's just, it's a cover for something. What is it that you're looking for?
Oh, I, like Coco, I'm looking for a good guy. But
Man, I'm really sad that the motorcycle guy didn't show up again.
Yeah.
That's instantly when you said pottery, I went, this has nothing to do with it. Who else is in the class?
Well, the guy teaching it is my age, but I don't know who else is in the class.
It's not the guy. It's not the guy teaching it. It's
Okay.
somebody else.
It's somebody else in the class.
I don't even think they're in the class. It's someone that comes into your awareness as a result of your movement to and from the class.
Okay.
It's almost like either you get a flat tire and somebody helps you, or you stop to grab a cup of coffee on the way and there's someone in the coffee, something like that.
Well, what I'm planning to do, because this is pottery is at Nambe Pueblo, and it's a very special kind of pottery, but that's right next to Sanctuario Chimayo, which is kind of my spot. It's where I go to talk to Mother Mary. And so I plan to go over to Chimayo after class, when class is done. So I'm wondering if maybe it's actually just getting me up to Chimayo. Does that...
There's something happening in alignment. They won't give you more information than that, because then you'll specifically start looking for it, and it has to appear to be a coincidence, but coincidence is God's way of remaining anonymous. So just let it happen.
Yeah.
Stop trying so hard.
No, I'm sitting here, I'm going, dang you, God.
But that's what when you reach the point where you say, thank you, God.
Thank you, God.
Thank you, angels.
Yeah.
Thank you for this coincidence.
Yes.
Then you're going to open yourself up to having it happen.
Okay.
Exactly.
We'll
And I have to...
Wait, I
okay,
gotta go. We gotta go to break, so I gotta stop you. We're gonna be back, and I'm gonna let them finish this after break, because this is for me. We'll be back with Jeanette Dames and Robyn Fink, right, and next on Cosmic Passport. Enjoy the commercial.
Hi there, this is Dave Scott from Spaced Out Radio, and I want you to come on a nightly journey. Starting at 9 p.m. Pacific, midnight Eastern, every Monday through Friday, you can come hang out with me and the other space travelers. We have it all from Carl the Alien bouncing on by to those misfit gnomes causing havoc. It's 3 hours of fun and entertainment on those topics the mainstream really doesn't want to touch. Come get all paranormal with us at spacedoutradio.com, and together, my friends, along with our resident guitar god Bumblefoot, we own the night.
There's stories, then there's the truth. Do any of us really trust the news anymore? This is Jamie Sexton, owner of Rebel Planet News. The third Thursday of every month, I appear on spacedoutradio.com to bring you the truth you deserve, without mainstream media lies or alternative media fear-mongering. We'll get to the heart of the story and deliver the truth you're seeking. So come join us here for the Rebel Planet at spacedoutradio.com.
Not ready for bed on Saturday night? Right after Spaced Out Saturdays, hop on over to S4 with Corey Ruiz and me, Eric Cooper from Forest Moon Paranormal. With S4, there are no limits to what we try and uncover. From government conspiracies to helping clean up the paranormal, no topic is safe on S4. We get to the heart of the matter, of the subjects you want to learn more about. So tune in on S4 starting at midnight Pacific, 3 a.m. Eastern, only on spacedoutradio.com.
Hi there, I'm Butch Witkowski, lead investigator with the U4 Cop. On the final Monday of every month, you can listen to me and host Dave Scott on Spaced Out Radio's Strange Days. We're going to get to the heart of the matter when it comes to what's happening out there. People are seeing and experiencing things from ET contact to Bigfoot, and I want to hear about it. Your experiences are what we investigators need to help solve these unknown mysteries. So tune in at spacedoutradio.com to the final Monday of every month from Butch Witowski's Strange Days.
This is Eric Markham, news editor for the Spaced Out Radio's The Encounter Online. We have put together a great team of writers and journalists from all over the world to bring you top-quality paranormal stories. From alien encounters to the latest conspiracies, you won't find any of that fake news here. True stories and top-notch reporting as we look to bring these experiences to the mainstream. The Encounter Online, only at spacedoutradio.com.
Do you want to know the truth? Do UFOs exist? Are aliens real? Are the governments hiding the biggest secret in history? We're UFO seekers, and we're on a hunt for the truth. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and follow along with us as we journey across the United States, visiting UFO hotspots and alien hotspots, trying to document the UFO phenomenon. Catch us on Spaced Out Radio every third Monday of the month as we discuss Area 51, UFOs, and more. And also, don't forget to subscribe to us on YouTube.
There's a lot of strange going on in this world, and we can help you find out what's going on with you. Paranormal, cryptids, UFOs in the sky, aliens in your bedroom tickling your toes. We have the investigators you need to find out the answers you deserve. All you have to do is head to spacedoutradio.com. Your information is 100% confidential. The SOR Sightlines Report. It's free, and we're here to help.
Patrolling the Pacific Northwest, we are always on the lookout for the strange and unassuming stories that real people are experiencing. Hi, I'm Vincent Zunza from Pacific North Weird. Me and Alexandra Sullivan have teamed to bring to you those odd stories that never seem to make it into the mainstream. Stories so weird that will leave you scratching your head wondering, is this real? It's as real as it gets with Pacific North Weird. You can watch our videos right here at spacedoutradio.com.
Become more intimate and interactive with Spaced Out Radio. Join our Space Travelers Club with your new membership. For $5 a month, we'll provide you with special access to the website, monthly prize draws from books to psychic readings, along with monthly newsletter, private interviews, and more. Sign up today to be part of Spaced Out Radio's experience.
Looking for a place to advertise at a very reasonable cost? Look no further than Spaced Out Radio. SpacedOutRadio.com has an advertising tab that you can click to check out our daily, weekly, and monthly packages to play on the radio, or our website including social media. From commercial spots to banners, we have it all. Check out our competitive pricing today.
Don't have time to listen to Spaced Out Radio live? Wherever you are, the car, the office, the shower, or even if you're traveling, we're right here for you. Each Spaced Out Radio show can be found on iTunes, TuneIn, and on our YouTube channel, Spaced Out Radio Show. It's the perfect way for you to catch up on our shows. For more information, just head over to our website, spacedoutradio.com, and tune in to us today.
Visit purpleplates.com today. For over 40 years, the Purple Energy Plates have been delivering amazing results for their many customers. Inspired by the great genius Nikola Tesla, the harmony, healing, and energetic effects of the plates have proven over and over to be beneficial and often miraculous to thousands of customers. Check their site for daily specials and choose from their many energy products. You won't be sorry. Visit them today at purpleplates.com.
We're lighting the void on Saturday nights on Spaced Out Radio. Hey, this is Joe Roop, and I'm hanging out in SOR headquarters every Saturday night, bringing you the latest news when it comes to the weird and strange. Bigfoot, occult, UFOs, ghosts, and everything in between, I got you covered. You can tune in to spacedoutradio.com starting at 9 p.m. Pacific, midnight Eastern Time. Come travel into the void with us on Spaced Out Saturdays.
The views and opinions expressed by tonight's guests and topic of discussion do not necessarily represent the official policy or position of Spaced Out Radio, Spaced Out Weekend, Spaced Out Radio Limited, its hosts, syndicated carriers, or anyone associated with this broadcast. Would you like to connect with us? head to spacedoutradio.com for all your latest show info. And hit us up on Twitter using the hashtag SpacedOutRadio. Now, back to Elizabeth Anglin and SOR.
Hey, everybody, welcome back to Spaced Out Radio's Cosmic Passport and Psychic Sunday. I am your host, Elizabeth Anglin. I am here with Jeanette Dames, the angel therapist, and Robyn Fink, our evolutionary astrologer for this evening, and we are doing readings through the chat room because Spreaker Skype combination is not allowing us to add people to our call. And it's Psychic Sunday. Well, we've just blown out the lines here with all of this energy that's coming in from the angels and the universe and the blue moon and the lunar stuff that's going on this week. So if you have a question, please don't call in. Please go into either the Spreaker chat room or the SOR Space Travelers chat room and type that question in all caps. If you want an evolutionary astrology reading or your perspectives for the year ahead, please do give us your astrological information. I will type it into Skype for Miss Robyn Fink. And what we would need then would be your date of birth, your time of birth, where you were born. And yeah, I think that's it. Date of birth, time of birth, where you were born. That's what she will need to look at things. We also have Jeanette Dames, who is looking at things more intuitively, clairvoyantly, and me, who is making peanut gallery comments. Yes, Elizabeth Anglin. See me at elizabethanglin.com for peanut gallery comments later on. All right, before we get back to people, for all of you listening in from around North America, welcome. If you are at WQEE 99 Rock the Key in Noonan, Georgia, we so value your listening. If you are on the United Public Radio Network, Renegade Talk Radio, or the High Plains Talk Radio Network, or KTLK, the Fringe.fm, hey, thank you for being here. If your name is Ron Bumblefoot THAL, we kiss your feet, we bow, because you are a god of guitarness and you make us some great music, and we really love you for that. If you are on Twitter, check us out at Spaced Out Radio. Give our Facebook page a like at Spaced Out Radio. On Facebook, you can you can Facebook find me at Cosmic Passport with Elizabeth Anglin or at Elizabeth Anglin. If you like to see videos or re-listen to shows, go to YouTube to Spaced Out Radio. Tune us in on TuneIn, download our shows from iTunes. We're also on RadioGuide.fm, TalkStream Live, and on Stitcher. And of course, our website is spacedoutradio.com. Now, we do have a GoFundMe going on for equipment right now, because Dave Scott is looking to get syndicated. Go to GoFundMe for Spaced Out Radio and give like it's a blood drive, people. We need to have better sound quality. And I bought a mic just for Ron and myself to do that. But there's other things that we could be doing. So give. Now, we do also have a newsletter, news section, The Encounter, on spacedoutradio.com. And our editor, Eric Markham, is on tonight, and we are answering questions for Eric. And you can check out Dave Scott's latest blog on Spaced Out Radio as well. If you've had an experience you can't explain, fill out an SOR, Spaced Out Radio Sightlines report on spacedoutradio.com. We have researchers that are ready to help you find out what's going on and keep it completely confidential. So again, thanks everybody listening. WQEE 99 Rock the Key at the Spaced Out Radio family down in Noonan, Georgia. Renegade Talk Radio out of Las Vegas. United Public Radio Network on 107.7 FM in New Orleans, and 160 countries around the world. It is January 28th, 2018, just before the blue moon, the blood moon, the lunar eclipse, and all that looniness. And we are doing readings tonight. And my goodness, I'm going to have to learn how to breathe. I am here with Jeanette Dames, Robyn Fink, taking questions. Robyn.
Yes, ma'am.
Do you have any answers for anybody?
Yeah, I do. I think Eric was the next person up. And so I'd be delighted to speak to his question. I think his question was about, is he going to find another relationship? And just a little something here, Eric, I can speak to that, but we didn't have your birth time, so we're going to just kind of play with the energy a little bit here. But the planets don't, they move in a way that's equidistant around the circle, but it may happen in a different environment. So I did a sunrise chart for you, which is what we do when we don't know often what time people are born. So it gives us an idea. So you are an earth energy sign. You're a Taurian. So you like things that you can see, feel, touch, experience through the physical world. So you're ruled by the planet of Venus, which we all know is the planet of love and relationships. So relationships are important to you. It looks like to me that the energy is has played itself out, but continues to play itself out in a couple different ways. One is Jupiter sits next to Venus in what I'm seeing as the 12th house. Let me tell you what that means. That means that you're the person that's going to come in for you, the person that's going to be meaningful in terms of a relationship it's going to be a powerful experience. It's going to be likely in a fiery environment. I see a lot of Aryan energy, so a lot of confidence there. But it's in the house of this spirituality, which is sort of a more nuanced place. So think about, fire, a lit candle in a quiet place. You see how you have both of those energies moving together there? This is the kind of person that you want to look for. This is the kind of person that is going to be meaningful to you. And the other thing that I want to say is that you have a very strong pull to the communicative arts. You're likely pulled towards people and yourself who love to speak, love to talk, but also can perceive and understand where you're coming from. And it's all in an environment of this very moon-like energy that we spoke of earlier, that Cancerian energy. So you have that lovely expression of when you talk to people, you really understand and you really feel them. This person that's going to come in for you is going to fill those qualities for you to feel like they're the one for you. But there is a lot of very optimistic, generous, positive, enthusiastic energy around it. But it may be in a place that you're not normally looking for. In other words, it may be a person that would not normally be someone that you might be interested in. So just sort of keep that open in your mind and available in your heart. Hope that helps.
Is the person's name Abby Normal? Sorry, I couldn't help myself.
You are still being the peanut gallery, aren't you?
I am. Is it Abby Normal? It's not the normal one.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
It must be Abby
Yeah.
Normal.
No, exactly. And you know what? This is, I can't tell you the numbers of times this does come up, but it being, go with your feeling. You are a person that feels the real world, the material world you like what things taste like, you like what things look like, you like nice things around you. You have those energies about you. You're going to recognize this person because they're going to have this fiery sense, and they're also going to meet you where you're coming from with regard to understanding. And I often like to say communication can be an intimate experience, that it's not just a physical experience. Knowing someone and being able to have these very deep conversations, or even just funny conversations that you both get one another, that's the level of experience you're looking for. So, but maybe look for it where you wouldn't normally look for it, with different kinds of people.
Okay. This is a great place that he's in the Spreaker chat room, and there are some really different kinds of people in there. So, like super different. He has another question. I think this is for Jeanette. So Eric and I, we went on a trip together to the Forest Moon Paranormal conference in September. And on our way there, we went to Santuario Chimayo. and we got some holy water. We said our prayers for a trip, and he got some dirt, and he left the holy water in his Jeep. And there was that deep freeze that happened. It got down to 7, and it stayed down below freezing for several days. And then he went and he looked in his Jeep, and the holy water had not frozen at all. He wants to know if there's anything going on about that is paranormal or spiritual about that holy water not freezing. Jeanette, do you get anything?
Are you sure it wasn't vodka?
No, it wasn't vodka.
Elizabeth, you're contagious.
Okay.
You would be the one to ask for paranormal. I would not be the one to ask for that. Spiritually, it's just, no, I don't think there's anything surprising about that at all. When we are dealing with consecrated water, sand, feathers, whatever it is that's consecrated, and we know that we've brought in the energy of the divine with it, it's never surprising that it doesn't freeze. What is coming through for Eric is that there's a really strong need for him right now I won't talk to you in the third. These people, Elizabeth, you bring in
third
so
Eric. We won't
Eric,
talk to you in the third Eric.
In the third person. Eric, you go inside and you let go of the rest of the forgiveness that you have to do. It looks like there's some for you and some for someone else. Almost looks like it could be a parent or a sibling. But just get rid of it. It's time. Let go of it completely. And it's very connected with what Robyn was talking about. You're almost there. You just need to finish letting go of all of it so that you can be completely present to let your person come in and really be there with you and be fully present with that.
Okay. That sounds good. Eric, if you have any further questions, we may have time. We've got a lot to get through. A lot of people have been sending in their birth dates and times. So we're going to go back to Robyn so we have time for this. Robyn, who do you have up next at the batter's plate?
I have Christopher. So let me get his chart up. Yes, Christopher. So I don't know what Christopher's question was.
Oh, I do.
Yes, I'm sorry.
Christopher wants to know, he thinks he's going to be moving, and he's wondering if he's going to be getting his ducks in the row to move to where he wants to go. Now, the other thing is that he has a parent with a health issue that this year, and I would like to know for him if you see anything about that. It's his mother.
Okay. Well, what I would say is, I do see energy around possibly moving. There is something about a journeying, and it might have to do with your mother. So, Christopher, there is some energy around that. It wouldn't necessarily have to be your mother, but there's moon energy in an environment that speaks to a travel or journey or some sort of movement forward with regard to that. It looks like you're, from an evolutionary perspective, you are moving towards a place that is going to be a spiritual place with regard to wherever your home ends up being. And home is very important to you. Home being the home within yourself, your heart, home, as we said earlier, home is where the heart is. Home isn't a place, it's a space. So it's these kinds of things that when you're thinking about moving, you're going to know that place, wherever that is. I can't geographically tell you from what I'm looking at here. That is something that we can look at astrologically, but not in this brief time. But what I will say is that it's going to fill you in a way that is very, very spiritually fulfilling, very mystically fulfilling, and very it'll complete you in a way that your life thus far has been very earthbound, material, things that you're doing in your life that are very, in a job or a profession where everyone sees you as something. This is going to move you into a different kind of place. So it's kind of akin to someone who grows up and lives in Chicago, let's say, and they all of a sudden say, this doesn't feed me anymore. I need to move to Colorado, or I need to move to Madrid, New Mexico, or something like that. It's a place where you find these people. The way to do it is to find these people that know you deeply. You have some really very strong energy in this house, the 12th house, which is the knowing house, that spiritual house that is very generous and open and optimistic. So we know that you're going to do this, but you're going to only do it with people who get you deeply. So those are the kinds of things to be looking at moving. If you so desire to move in a physical way, it doesn't necessarily mean you have to. But I do see that there is a potential for a journey with regard to your mother. So that could be maybe a segue to that, or something along those lines. I hope that's helpful.
I think it was helpful. He just said, wow, and he's got like a comment with a bunch of exclamation points all over it. So I think he is happy with that. Okay. And we have some other questions. Hey, guys, let's... Robyn, do you have anything else for another person yet?
Well, Elizabeth, I do have... this is just for you. I'm sorry. I received some dates and times, but I don't have a person's. I don't have a place for Psycho's birthday time. I have that as a chat there, so I don't know. And then the next person is Nicola, so I have to bring up her chart, and I don't have her in yet. So I will be speaking to Nicola shortly.
Okay, and Psycho, what do we need for Psycho that we didn't get?
We need a place in Indiana. I have Indiana, but I don't know where in Indiana.
Yeah, we need somewhere in Indiana. And there's a song about that. There's a song about everything, but we don't know what that is. So Psycho, give us where in Indiana, and then we're working on Nicola. And we finished my question earlier. Let's see. Eric is talking about our trip to Chimayo, because yes, when he got the water, I was standing next to him, and no, it did not appear that it was full of gin, but we never know. If it, because priests are crazy. I mean, cagey, not crazy. I had a question from someone saying, what if I went to Chimayo and I met somebody and he was Catholic? So he's Catholic. I'm a reverend in a spiritualist church. It's, whatever. So somebody's Catholic. I guess he'll stay Catholic and I'll be whatever I am. Let's see. Looking for questions here. Oh my gosh, so many people. Great, you're giving us your numbers. Anybody have any questions for Jeanette? Type them in all caps.
And I'm back for Nicola. So
okay, go ahead.
And I think, Nicola, your question had to do with career, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
Will you be changing careers? I think is what it looks like. And what a great question. It really is. It looks like, just briefly looking at this, that you are moving in a direction where if career is what you want to change, you probably you have a lot of energy in a house that we haven't spoken about tonight, which is, it's called the house of service, but it's also the house of work, or what I really like to call it is the house of learning a skill or craftsmanship. And that's where a lot of us live a bunch of our life with regard to a job that we hold. So we learn things so that then we can maybe go out and do something differently about what we love to do. So it looks like you've been working in, there's been a lot of change energy in this environment, but a lot of also, there's Neptunian energy, which can be fantasy-like, but it mainly is more of a mystical kind of experience. So things may not, it can also be maybe the jobs you've had have changed and they have been things that maybe you thought you liked and you thought, oh, not really so much. So I can see a tendency to want to move into the next, an evolutionary path to something differently. So looking at that energy about career, you have some you've got some energies around moon energy there, which is in a fire sign of Aries, which speaks to me of moving into a career that speaks to you from a place of the heart and a place of nurturing. But it could also include things around metaphysics and that kind of thing. So because it also speaks to intuitive nature. You've also got the planet of Jupiter in Pisces. We've gotten a number of people this evening with Jupiter in Pisces. I'm quite impressed. Of course, that would be the folks who'd be listening tonight on Cosmic Passport. Jupiter in Pisces is that expansive energy of optimism and enthusiasm in a place of mysticism. So it looks like what would be helpful for you is to look at do some meditation possibly, or think about what you'd like to do before you go to sleep, and sort of have these ideas around what is it that I'd like to do, what fulfills me, what makes me feel good, what makes me want to get out of bed every day. Is there some little thing that you do that maybe you could work at building a business around or working with other people, because you have this really strong energy in the place that is going to be your shining star, the zenith, the sun at high noon, if you'd like to put it that way. It's you being the yourself in the outside world. So that looks like where those energies lie for you, and it looks like it's time for you to make some of those changes. I hope that's helpful, Nicola.
Okay, Nicola, let us know how that worked for you. We've had a lot of people giving their numbers. So, Coco, you sent your birthday. I know that we had Jeanette read that for you, but what was your question for Robyn? Go ahead and type that in, and I will ask her. I believe she has looked at. Have you looked at Coco's numbers and dates?
Let me check here, Elizabeth. Just a moment.
I know that they're right above, they're a couple above the ones that we've been talking about.
I have her right here. And and do we have a question from Coco?
I know she was looking to see when she was going to meet Lewis, who Jeanette read Lewis. So when is she going to meet Lewis? Like, when does that look like astrologically?
Well, I can say it from a perspective of life. I'd have to do transits, which is a whole nother experience to see what's exactly happening right now. But it looks like most of the energy, she has a lot of a communicative energy. She's a Gemini ascendant, so a lot of action around talking. Again, a lot of Piscean energy in a work environment. I'm looking to find, let's see. It looks like, first of all, let me say about partnerships for Coco, that the energy that shows up for you in the environment of committed partnerships, and this is different from those partnerships that we sort of try on in our lives. That would be another place on the chart, and those are important to us as well. It gets us where we need to go to know what kinds of people we'd want to be partnered with. But your partnership energy is the moon sits there, and that's in the 7th house in Capricorn, which is a very practical moon. It's really lovely. I love Capricornian energy. It's that energy of, I have a heart and it's really big and you give it all, but you're very practical about it. And these are the kinds of feelings that you would come to a relationship, a committed one with, is I love deeply. I do everything deeply, but I need to have the independence of myself, and I need to be grounded and practical. None of this crazy, running off to Las Vegas and getting married kind of thing. That would not be your energy. And I see another clue to it is that your Venus sits in Capricorn in the 9th house. And what that means is you have a lot of this beautiful love of not just romantic love, but love of aesthetics, a love of beautiful things, a love of beautiful, like music, that kind of thing. So that also sits in Capricorn. So it looks to me like you might be looking for those kinds of energies that would complement you. But possibly you might be looking for someone in a place where you might be taking a vacation, where you might be doing some travel. Possibly, I don't know if you're into hiking, if you do anything that has to do with the outdoors and mountain climbing or something along that lines comes to mind for me here. But it also could be journeying in the sense of journeying through. Are you studying? Are you taking some courses? Are there some kindred spirits in those courses that you're taking? That kind of, if it's a work environment, are there colleagues that you are working on projects together where you are in sync about how you do your work? Because this energy, this emotional energy, is going to come through in a very grounded and practical way. So that's what it looks like, just as a footprint for you.
Okay. Well, and that sounds like Coco. I know something about Coco. And Coco, let us know what your thoughts are. Type in all caps in the chat room. Eric has told us that, Jeanette, that he is going to take a sip of his holy water to see if it tastes like gin. So
have some olives handy.
Have some olives handy, and we'll see. We'll see what happens after that. I have another question before we go back to Robyn. TEH guy, who is Craig. And this is, I think, for Jeanette. And it's more of to me, it sounds like it's an energetic question. He's been feeling attached to someone without the normal context of desire. And he's been getting strong emotions that aren't normal for him, like a stomach upset, anxiety, a feeling of deep loss. And he said, like I said, this isn't like this isn't like me, and he has no reasonable, rational reason to feel them. He says he was trying to help this person through depression, and he wants to know what the heck is happening. So, Jeanette, what do you think?
He's taking on energy and things that they're not his stuff. So in trying to help someone who was feeling depressed and lost, he absorbed too much instead of allowing them to work through it themselves. Mm-hmm. So yeah, you've taken it on. You need to do some cleaning, do some clearing, some deep breathing, get Archangel Raphael in there and get everything cleared out. Do some, just a second. Do a whole, start at the top and do a complete, what are they? Oh man, they're just, they're blowing it out. It's like, get into your complete form. Get in your head, take white energy and bring it all the way down through your heart, through your start. Yeah, get it down into your heart center. When you get it down into your heart center, breathe in lots of white energy and then open up your heart center and just let it out. You've got to get rid of it. You're carrying around something that doesn't belong to you.
Yeah. We call that the pure love light energy, that white
energy.
energy.
It's really deep. Yeah. And it's wonderful to be trying to help someone like that, but make sure that they are also taking care of themselves and not taking advantage of you.
Okay. Good advice for TEH guy, who I know is Craig. And I think we have his numbers also from Robyn. Robyn, did you see his numbers?
I did. And I think I had Psycho next, so I happened to bring up Psycho's chart.
Let's do Psycho.
And then we can get to Craig. Okay. I don't have a question for Psycho.
Psycho, yeah, what's your question, dude? We know where you're from. We've got all your info. We know where you were born, but we don't know where you live, so we're not going to come collect from you.
And again, we're doing a sunrise chart because we didn't have a time, so this is a general day chart for the day. So, who else did we want to try to do? Craig?
Craig, yeah.
In the meantime?
Yes.
Okay, and Craig's question was?
And Craig, your question was, again, give us a question. I guess I've missed some questions there for people. I got your numbers, but type them in all caps. We have a 30-second delay, so if we repeat this for 30 seconds, like broken records, it's because we have a 30-second delay. But Psycho and Craig, okay. Future read. Psycho says, future read. What do I have to look forward to? Oh my gosh, that sounds so depressive, Psycho. What do I have to look forward to? Guess what? I'll be back. What does Psycho have to look forward to? What do you think?
Well, I can... am I over speaking? Jeanette, were you going to chime in there? I didn't want to jump in. Is that okay?
Oh, no. Go ahead.
Okay. Well, what I'm going to say is... what you have to look forward to is before I say that, let's look at. I'm going to look at your chart and say where you're coming from, and then what you have to look forward to with regard to the energies that I spoke of earlier. So you have this wonderful. You have a lot of Cancerian energy. So I guarantee you have got to be an empath. Totally. You probably feel everybody in the room and outside of the room. So there's no denying that. And it's felt very deeply. And you too are likely, you've been here a number of times. So you're an old soul. So everything that happens to you is of a feeling nature. And that can be difficult. I have a Cancer ascendant. So I know what it's like to feel the room. So, thank you for being there, because we all need these people. We all need these people that understand what that means. Where you're going with all of that information and all that feeling expression is the universe is not playing a trick on you. You came in to this world with some fiery energy in a place of learning what your self-esteem might be about, learning what the currencies of life are. I love to call it that, because currency isn't just money. Money is a currency, and it's one of those things we use to interchange and exchange energy. So you have this strong proclivity to be possibly something didn't happen in other lifetimes or earlier in your life where maybe those things, your needs were not met, and you didn't feel secure in those things. So working towards having possessions and things that are meaningful and material for you are important, but almost more importantly are how you feel in your heart, how you feel in your groups of people, your friendships. This is Leo energy, that love from the heart, that wanting to be in community, that sharing energy. Interesting juxtaposition against all that Cancerian energy, which wants to hold everything close to the vest because it sometimes hurts to push yourself out too far. learning to have what I call semi-permeable membranes, which means having boundaries that allow certain things to go out and certain things to come in so the flow can continue. And once again, here's the universe doing what the universe does perfectly, is that you are going to move towards a place where you are feeling very independent, very strong, that Aquarian energy expressed in a place of intimate relationships. So the people that are going to get you, the people that you're going to know intimately, the things that are going to happen to you in an intimate nature, which can be personal relationship, but think other things as well. It's also places of, often we know our family members very intimately, people that we've lived with very closely over years. Committed long-term business partnerships can be this as well. Colleagues at work, if they really know us deeply. You are going to be in this wonderfully independent place that is going to help all that Cancer energy express itself, because you're going to find yourself among these Uranian energy types, these people who are independent and want to be loners possibly, or are rebellious or revolutionary. You're going to be able to be a teacher to them. This is part of the key to your moving forward, is you are going to be that sort of spiritual advisor. Because you know what it's like to feel. And it doesn't mean you're going to be a guru necessarily, and it doesn't mean you're going to stand up in front of people, but you're going to be that person that's going to sit next to somebody and they're going to give you the story about how something horrible has happened to them, and you're just going to know when it's proper to listen. You're going to know when it's proper to say the right thing. And that's where you're going to find your fulfillment, or in those deep, intimate experiences once you can become independent and feel confident in your independence.
Okay, so Psycho, let us know how that was. And then we have Craig. His question is, what is he supposed to be doing in this life? What is his highest purpose? Is there anything in the numbers or his purpose for this year?
Okay. Well, let me go back to everyone that I've looked at their chart, at their basic charts. Where we're going this year, and I just want to say it again because it's so powerful. We don't always get this very clear message, but there is this real movement from moving from this compulsive idea of seeking our own personal pleasures to the idea of living in living every day and enjoying every day, and in being intentional about that so that we receive value from it. Each moment is always precious. So craft each moment that you can craft every day in a way that you can have the best response in that way to it. And sometimes it's about, it's a really strong energy. This year, it's going to be really strong energy in those areas of, it's called the House of Friends, but it's really not friends in the sense of my buddy sitting next to me. It's those associations we have, those networks of people. Our world is filled with social networking. So it's those larger groups and associations that we have. Let's say if you work for IBM, it's those people that you work with. If you are in a social organization like the Habitat for Humanity, let's say, it's those people that are going to bring you to your best and highest place, because that's the energy you want to take on board for you personally. It's that, let's learn how to be independent. Let's take responsibility for ourselves. The universe is asking us to do that and asking us to take a longer view, have goals, look at things, not just this instant gratification that is all around us and very easy to fall into, and we all do it. We can easily Google something. We can immediately contact someone on our phone. All those things make our lives easier, but sometimes it doesn't make our life more meaningful. And sometimes things are worth waiting for. Some things are worth being thinking about over the long term and making plans about. as I said to Elizabeth earlier, this idea of writing her book was, okay, there's a plan. I'm going to move forward for that. And I'm going to do little pieces along the way that are going to help me get to that larger goal. So that's moving into that kind of energy. So globally, that's where we're at this year. And you have every ability to take advantage of that energy. For you personally, Craig, your energy sits, you came into the world in a place where there may have been some shortcomings or some obstacles related to home and family, possibly mother, father. It's not easy to tell exactly, but it wasn't an energy where possibly you might have been in a place where the family moved an awful lot, or you were there were opportunities where you were left and maybe the part of the family moved and you stayed in one place, or you moved and they stayed in the same place. Your energy wants to, and there was some real spiritual energy about that. So one could actually make a story around the fact that maybe there was some mystical or religious orientation going on around the family or your community, your family community, those ties that bind the people close to you happened. And something needs to be resolved around that for you to become full and whole and complete. And that's going to happen by what it is that you do in the world. And what you do in the world has to do with communication. It has to do with ideas, inspirations, being able to pull. I think of the cartoon balloon above your head with all of these thoughts and ideas coming in and out and in and out. You are an idea person. So having those ideas come into the physical plane, which is the 10th house of our career and reputation and status and the high noon of our life, your expression of that is going to be through the communicative arts. So again, speaking, writing, listening, hearing, perceiving, how your world works through that. Is how that's going to be seen.
Craig, wow, speaking, writing, that's great. Is there anything else for Craig? Or Jeanette, do you have anything?
I think where Robyn, she pretty much covered about everything that I could possibly have said.
Okay, cool. Robyn?
Okay, I think we have Yvonne, and I'm going to pull Yvonne up, but I don't have a question for Yvonne. So,
Oh, we just lost you, Robyn. Are you back on mute?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I may have missed a question that came in for Yvonne as I was looking at Craig's chart. So I don't know the question if there was one.
Yeah, Yvonne, I think it's just what's up for her year. But Yvonne, if you're still here and you're listening, go ahead and type in your question so we know what it is. And we will go from there. And I'm just going to go back through the list while we're doing that, see if I've missed anybody. Hey, if I missed you or we missed you, now's the time before the end of the show to type in your question in all caps in the Spreaker chat room or the SOR Space Travelers chat room, and we will look for it there. I am looking for something from Yvonne. We have this delay. Hold on one second. Okay, I don't have anything, but I'd go for the year. Like, what do you see in this year?
Okay, no worries. It looks like Yvonne. I hope you're listening, Yvonne. You have some wonderful energy. If you had been listening to what I said for Craig in terms of the yearly expression of what the universe would like to see from us, which is
Robyn, I can't hear you.
Yes.
Hold on.
Okay. Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? I'm not on mute.
Okay, go ahead.
Oh, can you hear me now?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Oh, great. Okay. So this energy that we were talking about in terms of the universe wants us to move towards this open-hearted and generous energy of thinking about things in the long term, thinking about our relationships with the people that we work with, the people that we associate with, that people that form our communities in our life. And it could be partly our family, but it's mostly these other, a little bit larger groups. Your sun sits right there in that house. It's in Cancer. So you have a wonderful complement to this year's energy with regard to, you will feel it viscerally in your solar plexus. It'll be the vitality of you to really feel this pull to want to express what your energy through these relationships. So I would take a look at who is your community? What are you doing with regard to that? What makes you feel good? Who are the people that you want to fill your life with that are kindred spirits? That type of energy, it's going to come very naturally for you. And so you are well placed for this experience to happen. In terms of your personal soul growth, it looks like you may have come into an experience, there might have been some obstacles around possibly communication, maybe some issues with siblings, because you have a south node in the third house. The third house are those close siblings. It's also about how we communicate with those first people that we learn how to communicate with in our families, which is why siblings sit there. And it can be from a perspective of either a physical experience with communication. I often see that when I see this placement, but it also could be a misunderstanding. Maybe you were not understood as a child. This is expressing in Scorpio. Yes.
Okay, she's written something, and she says that she has a question about her guides and feeling blocked. So could this point to that she's not being able to hear her guides or hear her guidance? Would that aspect point to that?
Absolutely, because it's way beyond the level of what we're doing this evening, but she does have a very important aspect right next to this south node, which is it's not a planet, it's an ice body called Chiron. And Chiron, which I'd love to do a whole show on Chiron, but Chiron is about where a wound may have happened to us, or something that was not completed in a prior life. So, or earlier in our life. So this could speak to something in her life not being communicated clearly to her. And it doesn't mean that it's not there clearly. It means that there's something in her that might be, as she says, blocking that clarity. And it's in the sign of Scorpio, which is that deep knowing, that deep water sign of knowing things deeply and understanding things deeply, which can sometimes be a challenge until you get a little bit older. It's a sign that takes some maturity of working through it, and sometimes it takes people a while to understand it. The North Node sits in Taurus in the ninth house, so and it sits almost right next to the moon. And the moon, as I said before, the moon is all about intuition. And so this is where you want to go, where your soul wants you to go, is to hear what's happening. But it wants you to, it's almost asking you to do some work. It's asking you to, and I don't mean that this is a huge involved thing, but maybe do some reading, do some coursework in whatever way that might be, webinar, training, to enhance, and it also means practice, enhance these psychic and open qualities that you have to your receptiveness to your intuition. It's going to feel very grounded to you because it's going to be in this earth sign, but it's going to be, Taurus is, like I said before, it's that sign where you want to be able to see, feel, touch, taste these things. So I intuitively, what comes to me is that some of the block could be releasing a little bit of that Taurian groundedness energy to allow you to feel deeply the scorpionic nature of the messages. The messages are going to be true, and the guides are wanting you to hear them clearly and truthfully. But it may not come into you in a way that you think it should. And I certainly understand this, because I think all of us who work to become more intuitive find our qualities come differently and have different levels of nuance. But for you, you want to feel it, you want to touch it, you want to taste it, you want it to like be right there in front of you. And that could be part of what might be, it's not stopping the message, but it might be hindering your ability to fully, clearly hear it. But you're moving in that direction. That is the direction that your soul wants you to go.
Very cool. So Yvonne says that she does have shamanic heritage, and that makes some sense. Because,
that makes sense. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, with what you're saying. Very neat. Do we have anything else for Yvonne, or are we moving on to the next? Is there anyone else?
Yvonne was the last person, but I would like to say one more thing to Yvonne. One of the very cool things that you have with regard to the energy of this year is, if you remember, we're moving. We started off with this energy, and I said we had all this Cancerian, Saturnian energy, that groundedness, that let's be determined, let's get to work, Capricorn energy, excuse me, and then Saturn. Okay. Let's hold the mirror up in front of us and be honest with ourselves. You know, there may be obstacles, but we're going to pull through them. You are well aspected for this, especially from an intuitive, mystical perspective. I can see the shamanic expression in your 12th house. You have Pluto sitting fairly close to Saturn there in a fiery sign of Leo. So this sort of, from the heart what it feels like to transform, which is a great part of being in a shamanistic experience. But you also know that it takes work, Saturn. It takes determination, Saturn. So you have it all there. It's wonderful, wonderful energy. So I want to share that with you.
Very, very cool. Okay, I want to get to this Chiron thing. You have my chart. I think Chiron and I are not friends, and we have not been friends this entire lifetime. Can you look at my Chiron?
I can, but I've got to bring you back up, so it'll be a moment.
Well, see, I have this. When I've sort of done the, type your chart in and read what it says thing, it says I am going to be a crazy old cat lady, basically, because Chiron is not my friend. And I know that you can't look at an astrology chart because it's not about fate, it's about the evolution of it. But I'm wondering what Robyn thinks, because I've looked at the chart and I've looked at Chiron and I've gone, oh crap, what are you doing down there? Because it's down near the south node, but it's not on it, I think, and I don't remember which house it's in. But it's such a... He's such an icy old curmudgeon, that Chiron, in my chart. So I don't know if you see it yet.
Let's see. I'm sorry. I had a little glitch, so bear with me.
So she's typing in. And
okay,
go ahead.
Okay, I'm back. So Chiron, and I know I have just 2 minutes here, but Chiron is considered to be the wounded healer. So where he sits in your chart is going to show you possibly where the wounds from your prior experiences have been. And it's a place, the universe provides you with these obstacles in your chart, but it also provides you always with a way to solve it. So the thing about Chiron is to say, oh, there he is. Yes, I have to deal with this, but it is also the opportunity, the door to being able to resolve the wound. So in your chart, Elizabeth, Chiron is also the father of astrology from the myth. So Chiron is one of my favorites. He sits in Pisces in your third house, right next to your Venus. So just very briefly, I would have more to say when I would look at your chart more thoroughly, but it means that there's been something that has happened that was unfinished or was a wounded experience related to to love. And it could be love in your early family with your siblings. It could be in these areas of communication, in your feeling loved about how you communicate, or maybe you didn't feel loved or were ignored in your communications. But it's in this mystical house. So the communications probably came through as a spiritual communication, that kind of thing. But it affected you from in terms of who you are, who you've been as a, growing up as a little girl, what you saw as love, the things that you saw that were like love, meaning the beautiful things in the world, the things that are lovely and aesthetically pleasing. So there was some kind of wound there. And it opposes, of course, it opposes Pluto in Virgo. So, and that's in the 9th house. So the part, I can't say wholly because that would be misspeaking for 2 seconds, but it's about you understanding that the transformation has to occur in the material world, that you have to make it happen in terms of your philosophies of life. You have to stand for what you speak about. You have to understand what those things are, and you need to make those journeys either inside your head or physically move to different places so you can experience different people and ideas so that your philosophies can be real for you, grounded for you, and be able to be spoken, and it clears the wound.
Oh, wonderful. That is the end of the show, folks. This is Elizabeth Anglin. We're going to go overtime if we go anymore. Thank you, Robyn Fink. Thank you, Jeanette Dames at River Angel Ranch. Contact me if you need anything from either of these wonderful ladies. We'll see you later. Good night, everybody.